Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi out here, and it's a wow Wednesday. So stupid. We had some news yesterday about two of our barbecue B and B things yesterday. Two different things, two very different things. One of the main stories yesterday is RJ Barrett's medical diagnosis on his shoulder. It's a strain, not a tear. There's been a lot of talking about how long he's going to be out. And to be honest, I'm going to say this over and over again all right, first of all, the Raptors media, the mainstream media, Sportsnet, TSN, whoever, they're going to make things sound worse. In some ways, this is just how the media acts. They're going to make things sound way worse than they are because fear sells newspapers, fear keeps the attention of the person. And in some ways, I'm going to say this right now. RJ Barrett is not that hurt, y'all. I'm going to say it over and over and over again. You see RJ Barrett, the wear and tear he took in his NBA career, in his FIBA career. He played in Olympics. I'm going to tell you guys right now, that run into Jonas Valanciunas, once again, was not as bad as everybody thinks it is. Once again, at this time of the year, the Raptors look for excuses to sit guys just for piddly little injuries. And they're being coy about it. Now, he did go get it checked out and had an MRI, and they're saying that it is a strain. Now, it's a shoulder separation. That's the technical name for it. It's a shoulder separation. And everybody's freaking out. Like, there's this lady, she's a doctor, and she does diagnosis stuff for Josh Lewenberg on Twitter. And I can't stand her, Dr. Allie. She's so annoying. Like, she always writes out the worst case scenario for every single injury for the Raptors. Do not do this, Dr. Allie. Seriously, look at the actual injury. Tell us what it is from the actual thing and not just tell me the worst case scenario, because that shit is annoying. Because once again, you feed a fire and you all of a sudden all the media is chicken littling us. Oh no, RJ's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season. Oh no, what is this going to mean for the Raptors? Don't fucking get your fucking selves together, you idiots. Seriously, what is wrong with y'all? This season still has like 12 days. And from what I can tell, you can heal from a shoulder surgery with separated shoulder with no surgery in 12 days. It's so annoying. We've got to understand our players are athletes. They're in very, very good shape. RJ Barrett is a very strong young man. And you think that he is such a wuss that he can't run into Jonas Valanciunas once and be okay from it? Nah, see, you guys got to understand, this is today's NBA. That injury to RJ wouldn't be an injury. He would have came back in the next play if he was playing in the 80s and 90s. I'm just saying they're taking precautions. Precautions with Emmanuel's wrist, precautions with Jacoby Walters' separated shoulder also, which Darko described as being the same exact injury between RJ and Jacoby, that they have the same injury right now. So I'm not worried about this. You think this is the first time RJ Barrett separated his shoulder? No. So don't buy this line they're feeding, whether it's Grange and his doomsday bullshit, whether it's Lewenberg overemphasizing that this is horrible for the Raptors, that they won't have RJ Barrett at the beginning of the season. I say bullshit. They're going to have him back in time for the season. And if they don't, well, maybe he only misses 1 or 2 games. So, yeah, don't fall for the hell. They can at whatever moment. And RJ Barrett getting a separated shoulder is not necessary to do this over. Oh, my gosh. It makes me so mad. Because this is the thing. Everybody will start thinking, in some ways, this is their way of tarnishing the Raptors before the season even starts. They say, oh, they're going to be bad. They're already hurt. And even the line of questioning yesterday at the practice, question for Jakob Poeltl, asking him, don't you really want everybody to be healthy in here? Yeah, that's ideal, of course. We'd like everybody to be healthy in here. He's like, well, but it's going to be this season, going to be like this. Listen, you know what? I hate this kind of half-ass shit with teams where half the guys are hurt and some are pick and choosing, sitting out, and then nobody's really serious about the season. No, we ain't doing that this year. We need these Raptors healthy and showing up. And people talking about, people missing all different times throughout the year. No, we ain't doing that this year. These guys are committed. These guys want to play. These guys are going to show up, and they're going to play. You think RJ Barrett's going to sideline himself on purpose? No, he's not. He's going to be out there and playing every single time he has the ability to play. So yeah, I can't stand Toronto sports media and the way they're handling RJ Barrett's injury. You guys go ahead and make it sound like it's such a horrible, disastrous thing because it isn't. It's a separated shoulder, you losers. And he can heal this on his own with no surgery. And I'm sick of the media gaslighting the Raptors fans into trying to make them think that this is a disaster because it isn't, guys. I will poo-poo this injury because I know RJ's a strong young Canadian and he is good. He's good. Trust me. You don't think he's had a separated shoulder before and that he knows how to deal with this and he'll be back. Of course he has. Oh, Josh Lindbergh's acting like the man's arm fell off. Josh Lindbergh, you're acting like the man's arm fell off. And Grange, somebody brighten your day, please. Because every time you come up to the media scrum, you're the embodiment of Rachel Dratch on Saturday Night Live, Debbie Downer. Meow. Yeah, motherfucker, you're coming up to, well, Kelly, what if this is like this and this and this? Oh my God, Grange, when we listen to you, you make us want to like jump off a building because you're so depressing with your talk and even your cadence of your voice, Michael Grange, is like your dog died or something. Like, oh my gosh, Michael Grange, could you pep it up a little bit? You sound like such a Debbie fucking Downer whenever you're asking questions to the Raptors and you're negging them. It's like you're gaslight negging the players in the player interviews. I know you're doing that, Michael. I know you're doing that. I've seen you do this for years, and you're just continuing your bullshit. So that's how I know Raptors season's here, when I know Michael Grange is doing his Debbie Downer act and Josh Lundberg's overreacting to injuries with Dr. Alley. Yeah, that's how I know this season's here, right there. Yeah. All right, well, let's get to the subject of the day. All right. Listen, this is what happened yesterday. Mr. Windhorst on the picture of our stream today. Yeah, BrianWindhorst has been Windhorsting. And well, apparently this is officially true now, that it's not just speculation, that the reason why Scottie missed training camp was the birth of his baby. That the baby, it is confirmed now that the baby did come then. Now, if Windhorst is going to say it on ESPN or Hoop Collective or wherever he is, he better be factual, right? He can't come out and say shit like this. It'll ruin his credibility if he says something out of pocket like this. And I don't see anybody denying it. So, yeah, it sounds like Scott and his friend from Guelph have had their child last week during our training camp. And that's why he was absent. A very, very great reason to be absent. And I'm kind of happy that it's happening before the season so that he won't miss any games for the delivery then. But I hope that Scott is not too distracted in the early days of this. It's good that it's happening in preseason so that they can get established and have the baby come home and healthy and do all that kind of stuff before we even have our game against Cleveland Cavaliers. So it's a good thing in some ways. Now, are we going to get that baby bump from Scottie immediately at the beginning of the season? I hope so. We'll have to see. But it's very interesting that, I speculated this last week. I said this about a week ago. I said, well, maybe Scottie's having the baby right now, and that's why he's not here. And now Brian Windhorst pretty much confirming that this is true. Now, I'm not totally sure because, of course, they're not going to put people's personal business on blast too much in the media. But Brian Windhorst saying it on the Hoop Collective is pretty bona fide as far as things. And, there's something else I want to say here also hang on. It's most likely that we won't find out for sure about Scottie's baby for sure until he does go on Twitch himself and tells us himself. So I would tell people like Isaac Campbell and Monique to be on Scottie Barnes' Twitch watch in the time before, maybe even before the game on Friday, maybe today or tomorrow, or maybe even somewhere in between preseason and the regular season, that Scottie's going to come on Twitch and he's going to announce the birth of his baby officially himself through his Twitch family. So I would say, Twitch family, be on guard because we may get the baby announcement from Scottie's own words himself in the next 10 days. So pay attention to that, Isaac and Monique, because I feel like that's what's going to happen. So there's the two big stories of the day, the Barnes and Barrett news. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing for Barnes, and it's an overhyped bullshit thing for Barrett. So yeah, don't believe the hype. Flavor Flav is what I'm saying right here. Don't believe the hype. Seriously, that Dr. Alley girl, that Dr. Alley lady, that Dr. Alley doctor She's annoying me. She's always coming out with like these crazy ass, like all the medical jargon she uses, and she's saying, and then this is this, and then it's like 6 weeks before this is, they'll be out for 6 months. I mean, oh my gosh, she's not my favorite J. Lou, and putting her on blast with your tweets all the time, and Raptors fans seeing her, yeah, she's just not fun. She's not fun. She's not a fun person. I don't like her. Let's just put it that way. I could get better bedside manner from another doctor. Seriously, she has no bedside manner. She has no consideration for the hearts of Raptor freaks and what they care about with the Toronto Raptors and them winning. No, she's just coming in. She has no tact. No tact. You got to come in and lay it to us gently, Dr. Alley. You can't be coming in here and just saying, yeah, you're out for 8 months. No, Dr. Alley. No. You need to have a better bedside manner. I was like, can I get a second opinion, please? Because I'd like a second opinion other than Dr. Alley, please. And don't bring me Dr. Oz, that scrub, that farce. No, bring me a good doctor that can give me good medical advice and break it to me gently. Because Dr. Alley is mean, and she's saying things in a mean way. And she needs to have a better job at breaking it to us gently. Maybe tell us the best case scenarios all the time, Dr. Alley. Because remember, we're not dealing with old men, old women that have bad joints and bad bodies. No, we're dealing with young athletes that are at the top of their health. And every time you make a prognosis or say something about how they're going to do, it sounds like you're giving it for somebody who's much older and not in average health, and not like Kyle Lowry or RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, that is a top-notch athlete that has super nutrition, the best rest, all the things at their disposal to heal quickly. So, Dr. Alley, if you're going to make diagnosis, keep in mind who the patient is, and stop giving us the whole thing for the average person, because these aren't average people. These are NBA players, and their body is their work. And that's all I got to say on that. Yeah, Dr. Alley. Go up on her a little bit, just because, seriously, work on your bedside manner. Seriously, I love the information, but seriously, remember who you're talking about. You're talking about RJ Barrett. You're talking about RJ Barrett. That's right. All right, let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. I love being here this morning. Love being here with everybody. There's Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights. Morning, everyone. Morning to you, Daniel. Y'all give Daniel a follow, please, on his YouTube channel. Trevor saying, happiness is not getting what you want all the time. It's about loving what you have and being grateful for it. Boom goes the dynamite. Trevor on point this morning with his words of wisdom. Commissioner Fun, I'm so glad that you are safe on another continent away from Milton. And yeah, this is exactly right. Listen, the world is finite and has finite things, but we live in a world where delusional psychopaths think that we have infinite resources and we can just burn through them and they can just profit off of all this. No, there's a finite resources in this world, and being so disposable with everything that we use is so idiotic. In some ways, we need to take care of what we have already and use it, and stop wasting so much, wasting food, wasting technologies, wasting products, wasting so much crap, and it goes into a landfill. And I'm just sick of it. We need to be smarter, and we need to be more sustainable. And in some ways, one of the ways of doing that is loving what you already got and taking care of it and using it for a long time. And all the disposableness in society right now will be looked at in the years to come as what folly, what idiots were living at that period of time, that they were doing things like that at that point. Seriously, I'm telling you right now, a lot of things that we do in society right now, the people in the future will look at us like idiots, and they will hate us in some ways for what we did right now. Seriously, I'm telling you the truth. Trevor saying Minnesota moving on to face New York. There you go. The Lynx got it done and blocked out the sun. That's right. Collier, first WNBA player to record 25-plus points and 10 rebounds in 3 straight playoff games. Wow, that's fantastic. Nafisa Collier, fantastic stuff. You know, I like the Lynx. I had Kayla McBride on my team. And, of course, our girl Bridget Carlton of Canada is on that team also. This is going to be fun. We'll see a Minnesota versus New York at WNBA final this year, and to the best team win. Yeah, it's going to be fun to see what happens. Trevor, thanks for the WNBA update, and thanks for being the commissioner of fun, always bringing the fun, and thanks for being in a safe place, my guy. It seems crazy down there right now. Kareem is here. Kareem is saying, I love Coach Darko. Another year of Darko's pre- and post-game press conferences. But most importantly, another year of hearing him say pick and roll. Darko's awesome, man. And he does sound like a little bit of a repeating record in preseason right now with all the same questions coming at him. But man, I love the questions he answered yesterday. William Liu asking him about Shamshay and the plans for him, and that this year is really just an introductory year. And I love what he said about this. He said basically that he had a conversation with Coach Popovich when he took the job with the Raptors, and Coach Pop gave the advice to Coach Darko that you need to take every single step and not skip any steps with young players like Wemby and Ulrich Shamshay. He didn't know he had Ulrich Shamshay at that time, but Darko's using that advice for this. And that the plan with Shamshay is to make sure we do this right. There's no rush. And there's every single step has to be substantially done in the right order so that we build this young man into the best possible NBA player that he can be. And in some ways, I love this. This is music to my ears. And the fact that he's taking his advice on this subject from Coach Pop means a lot. So in some ways, guys, we need to slow the Shamshay train as far as wanting all these things for him so fast and allow it to happen the way it's supposed to, each step in its right order, is what our coach is saying yesterday. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's go. I am here to see Ulrich get better and better and better and better from being 18 right now. That's right. This is the start of a fantastic NBA journey called Ulrich Shamshay. Yeah, we're all about it. Trevor's saying Hurricane Milton is going to be very dangerous. It's the largest storm to hit the U.S. I've seen the pictures of it, and it is crazy. It is crazy. And some people down there are like, I ain't going out to somebody named Milton. Yeah. Listen, Florida people around that area of Florida will get jaded about hurricanes, but they're not on this one. The mayor of Tampa is telling people if you do not evacuate, you will die. And this is serious stuff that's happening today down there. I put a prayer and a blessing, a protection over all the people of Central Florida today in Tampa, right across to Satellite Beach on the other side of the Panhandle, because this is a storm to be reckoned with. And in some ways, they're saying that there's a storm surge of 15 feet high of water. The roof of your house is only about 10 feet. So that thing is going 5 feet over your single story house. Just so you know. So, yeah, this is going to be nuts. This is going to be crazy. There's going to be devastation. And not only do we need people to be safe, I hope that they protect the property also so that people don't lose their homes and have all kinds of crazy stuff happen because of Hurricane Milton. Wow. And that is a crazy name. Isn't that the guy from Office Space with the stapler? Isn't that the name of the guy in Office Space with the stapler? Milton? I think that's right. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Kaz is here. Kaz on the road, our trucker friend. He's out there on the road listening to the Raptor Freak channel right now. Good morning to you, Kaz. Love to see you using the emotes there. There's the spray cans. Yeah, 30th anniversary. Good stuff. And Nako's saying, I wonder what Nako's saying about. Is he saying about Scottie Barnes' baby? Is he saying about RJ Barrett's injury prognosis? I wonder what things that make you go, things that make you go, You remember that song? How come nobody ever plays that song anymore? Things that make you go, That song just like dropped off the face of the earth. I never hear that on the radio ever on classic channels. Things that make you go, I know that song. Y'all remember it, right? That happened, right? Andrew's here. Good to see our rookie of the year, Andrew, in the house. Morning, people. 14 days until regular season. Ooh, a Jacoby Walter, a Muggsy Bogues. Yeah, he's got a new countdown. He's saying 2 weeks until we start the regular season today on Wednesday. It will be the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2 weeks from today. Yeah, season's coming quick. And boy, we've had a little break between the first preseason game and the second one against Washington on Wednesday. But yeah, a little bit more of a taste of off-season programming on the Raptor Freak channel. But boy, we're going to be in the middle of the thick of the previews and reactions very, very soon, more and more as time goes on. And I'm here for it. I love it. You guys have fun doing the preview and the reaction this week for the first game in Montreal. Yeah. Get used to it. Lots of fun with ref reports and stars to be given to players and reacting to all the fun stuff that happens in games. That's what we do on the Raptor Freak channel. We are true fans of the Raptors, and we love talking about them. That's what we do here. That's right. Bryce is here. Good morning, Lex and the Raptor Freaks. Good morning to you, Bryce. Hope everything is good in Kentucky. I guess this storm's trajectory is not aimed towards you guys like Helene was. So it was crazy. Like the amount of the southern states that got affected by Helene was awful. And this is the thing: Helene killed 143 people, y'all, and we have no idea Milton's even bigger. That it's going to be even crazier. So please, everybody, if they tell you to get the hell out of Central Florida, get out of there like Trevor did and go to Portugal. Seriously, get the out of there. Yeah, there's price gouging at the airport, apparently. All the airlines are trumping up their charges real high on people just to get out of there. That is immoral, airlines. Yeah, I know y'all are hurting financially, but to do that to people that are just trying to save their lives, that is immoral, is what I'll say right there. That is moral. And you're going to get investigated. Pete Buttigieg tweeting that, yeah, we're going to come look at it and see what your airline fares were right before Milton came through. That's right. We're going to come look at y'all for that real quick. Yeah. Fiercely saying good morning, fam, and happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you, MJ. Always so happy to have MJ in the chat. And she's not as busy in her work week this week, so she's here with us on time this week. I love it. MJ, you're awesome. I love you so much. I really do. Brian's here. Good to see King Brian from To The Point. What's up, Freak Nation? I just finished work here to chime in that Windhorst should speculate on where his jaw went. Laugh out loud. I'm out to run some errands. Brian just got off work. He does do the night shift. He's on the night shift. Good things are coming down. I know you're not around on the night shift. Woo. Yeah, that's right, Brian. I hope you have a great morning and get some rest. And yeah, I don't know. Windhorst's chin, I don't know. In some ways, I don't want to make fun of the man for that. In some ways, he's just who he is. He's definitely not the strong athlete that RJ Barrett is. Dr. Alley, did you give a prognosis for a recovery time for BrianWindhorst for a separated shoulder instead of RJ Barrett? Because that's what it feels like. Now, BrianWindhorst, that would take him a while to probably heal from a separated shoulder. But we're talking about RJ Barrett, who just played in the Olympics in Paris for Canada. Come on now. You going to tell me it's going to take him that long to get better from this? No, he's got that Kyle Lowry Wolverine healing powers. This isn't BrianWindhorst separating his shoulder. Come on now, Dr. Alley. Give this man a little bit better of a prognosis. Bryce is saying, I literally watched a boxer throw his shoulder out mid-fight and get it popped back in place mid-fight and go right back to the fight like it didn't happen. Yeah, this happens on a daily basis in NHL games. These guys are hitting the boards, they're running into each other, popping shoulders, popping them back in. Yeah, this is stuff that happens on the hard top downtown in Toronto. People pop the shoulder out. Oh, I got to put my shoulder back in. And now I'll keep playing. That's what I'm talking about right here. Come on, don't talk to us like we're stupid, media. We understand injuries and strain. Separated shoulder is not a shoulder tear, first of all. But they want to put in there the details of what it takes to get back from its shoulder tear. Why are you telling us the worst stuff? And that isn't even what happened to him. The MRI revealed it's a strain. It is not a tear. So why the hell are you telling us all about all the different levels of the bad things that could be happening, Josh Lundberg and Dr. Allen? Seriously, just give us the prognosis for the specific patient in the specific case. And we don't need to hear about what you do when you have a shoulder tear because it's a shoulder strain. And there's no tear there. Oh, my gosh, Bryce, you're exactly right, my guy. You're exactly right, my man. I popped out my shoulder out of socket plenty of times. Sure, it hurts, but it ain't that bad of an injury. There you go. There you go. In some ways, like I said, RJ shows up, plays 14 minutes, drops 17. He's good. He's had his preseason. In some ways, his preseason was in Paris. He got his preseason in playing for Canada against top-level world teams at the Olympics. You know, in some ways, it's like, what? I've seen enough. In some ways, that's what Dr. McKechnie and Darko and them said. You know, RJ's got a popped out shoulder. It's like, you know what? He's good. He's out for the rest of the preseason. We're good. Yeah, we're just going to let him rest. You know, he did have a long summer of playing at the Olympics and playing in camps all year. He's like, in some ways, this is a good excuse for us to tell him, yeah, RJ, you got to rest for the season because it's a long grind. And we're going to let you sit around until the season starts. I mean, why can't Raptors fans see what I see? I think y'all can. And in some ways, anybody who's overreacting to the RJ news today and, oh, woe is me. Oh, the Raptors can't buy a break. Oh, you guys, seriously, don't listen to media. They're trying to make you feel bad. They're trying to make you feel bad. That's right. Randolph's here. Randolph Phillips. We love the blessings from Randolph. He's saying blessings, beloved Raptor freaks. Most informative gang. Today, be deliberate and intentional about fulfilling your God-given purpose. Be your best self. Man, you're right, Randolph. And you know what? I've struggled with this year. I have not been my best self at a lot of different times this season, this year. partly because I've been in a lot of stress and I've had a lot of issues going on, and I feel bad about it. But I've tried to make progress and be better, but I'm not perfect. And in some ways, I'm trying to be the best version of me as I can, and I'm doing better and better as time goes on and things settle down. But man, this year was such a tumultuous year for me with my changes that it was a lot of stress on me. But this is great advice for everybody. Listen, we all have character defects, and in my program that I do as an AA person, we have to analyze them and try and do better if we see that we've done things wrong in certain ways. And I want to say this right now. I apologize to my good friend Tom yesterday. I apologize to him for what I did yesterday. In some ways, my arguing with him was unnecessary. In some ways, it was probably a little bit too vociferous and too pointed at him, and it shouldn't have been. In some ways, I don't think that Tom and I had a disagreement yesterday, whether it was a misunderstanding, probably that he had a point that he wanted to make. And it's probably we're on the same place as how we feel about things. It's just that we mistook each other a little bit. And that's what the problem is. In some ways, maybe we have a different idea of what rich means. And that's what the problem was right there. So I sincerely apologize to Tom. And I hope that Tom comes back again at some point. We'll see. We'll see. He did leave before and he did come back at some point and may just need some time to cool off. But yeah, I was not my best version yesterday. And in some ways it showed with the way I talked to Tom Duke yesterday. And I'm embarrassed to chill out a little bit. You know, that's what I need sometimes. People like Adrienne in my life to tell me when I'm out of pocket. And I think I was a little bit out of pocket. So I sincerely apologize to Tom Duke right now. And I have done that to him privately also. I've been in contact with him on Facebook and we talked also on there. So I'll stand by and do it again here. Blessings to Randolph and the rest of the Raptor Freak families out there. Yeah, let's be the best version of ourselves. And if we don't do a good job the day before, let's do a better job today. How about that? I like that. I like that so much. Real quick, Leo's putting them out late these days. Like he's very late on putting out his words of wisdom. So I'm just going to go ahead and use his one from yesterday. Because he's putting them out so late, I can't get them. So Leo's life tip is progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Boom goes that dynamite. I love that. You know, people that are really just stuck in their ideals and their ways, and they don't understand that change happens in society, change happens in your life. Like I just talked about, a lot of change in my life. Well, you're going to have a lot of hardships because you just don't get through these things. And in some ways, you got to be flexible. You got to be like water. You got to go through things. And the world is changing around us. You know, as we get older, some of the things that are sensible to us may not be sensible to people that are younger than us. And that is somehow how things change. And we have to be more accepting and understanding and cognizant of all that. Or it's just like, what are you, old fuddy-duddy? And you're just like, get with the times, Gramps, because this is how it is now. And I'm sorry, it's not the 1950s anymore. That's what I would say on that right there. Yeah, thank you, Leo, for your life tips. I don't know, you putting it out late because you don't want me to read them? Either way, I'm going to try and figure out a way. And if you don't want me to do it, Leo, you can tell me too. I'll stop doing it. Let's see. All right. Fiercely saying, I saw a tweet or post saying Scottie did have his child. If it is true, I'm happy for him and his shawty and hoping the baby as well. But in all honesty, I'm more looking forward to the season. I'm actually kind of glad of the timing of this. It would be awful if the baby came in the middle of like the West Coast road trip that we're going on in the very beginning of the season out west. That would mean he'd probably miss a lot of games like all in a row, like when Fred left for Layla's birth. So I would say this is absolutely great timing. And it speculate, you got to think about this. This is 9-month pregnancy. So he got her pregnant right around February. And if you think about it, that's right around when he got hurt. So it's probably very likely that when he hurt his hand and he was out for the rest of the season, that's right around where the baby was conceived. And now it's came now. Yeah, so you've seen some speculation and a validation that he has had the baby online too, Fiercey. Yeah, in some ways, I'm with you too. I'm looking for the season. I'm happy for Scott and his new family, but also at the same time, let's get down to business, Dad, and let's go to work. Let's clock in, and let's get that notoriety and legacy for your young child started, Scotty, even more since you are the dad now. That's right. That's what I see. Yeah, Nako saying Michael Grange sounds like Ray Romano. I've never thought about that, but that's exactly right. Nako. It's like in some weird world, Michael Grange is a bizarro Ray Romano from Everybody Loves Raymond. I want to just imagine that Michael Grange's home life is like that TV show now. Yeah, I'm just gonna imagine that, like that his married life with his kids is just like Everybody Loves Raymond. I'm gonna watch that show now, and I'm just gonna replace Ray Romano with thinking that that's Michael Grange because you said this, Gerald. You know, you're getting a 10-pointer for this. This may be a very substantial observation that's important for the Raptor Freak channel. That Michael Grange is the Ray Romano of Raptors media. And Gerald, you're awesome for this. All right, where is Nako the Nacho? I got to put him down for a 10-pointer here real quick. You're at you got a Davion Mitchell 45, my guy. Davion Mitchell 45 dunks for Nako. Wow. Fiercely saying not jumping off a building when Grange speaks. Yeah. You know, it's just he really has a way of making you everything worse. Seriously, just it's part of it is his cadence. He's really like mumbly and kind of like, well, what if this, you know, there's a lot of that when Grange, when he's asking questions in the media scrum. He's like really, really, really depressing. It's really bad. I wish he was more upbeat. I wish he was a little bit more, he's like the depressed Ray Romano. He's like depressed Ray Romano. That's what he is, man. Carlos saying maybe Scotty's baby has the same baby birthday like little Santino. Morning, Lex and everyone. That could be possible. That could be possible. Your babies are Libras, huh? You got Libra babies. Libra power. Let's go, Libra. Libra babies. Da, 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 da. Yeah, Carlo, maybe Santino will be playing on a basketball team with Scotty's son at some point. I don't know. We don't know the sex of the baby yet. We do not know if Scotty had a boy or a girl. And in some ways, we may find that out on Scottie Barnes' Twitch family when he announces it. That'd be awesome if we find out. No gender reveal parties, Scotty. No, none of that. Just come out and tell us. Just tell us, you know. Maybe he shows up on the NBA 2K court and all of his players are wearing pink jerseys. There's the message, Twitch family. There you go. It's a girl. Maybe they're wearing blue jerseys. I don't know how he would tell us. What would be a gender reveal for Scotty on his Twitch stream? I don't know. Santino. Fiercely saying at Nako, he does indeed sound like Ray Romano. He really does. Like Gerald, you are like brilliant for figuring this out. You really, really are. You are brilliant for this. He really does sound like Ray Romano. It's kind of like a little bit like a Muppet voice. That's what it is. Ray Romano kind of always had a Muppet voice. Like he would be like on the Muppet Show. Hey, oh, it's the Muppet Show with Kermit the Frog. He's like the depressed Muppet. He's like Tully Monster. You know Telly? I don't know if we should do this, Bird. No, it'll be fine, Telly. No, I don't know, Bird. He's like Telly Monster, this motherfucker. He's like Telly Monster. Great. Heard me call him Telly Monster. He probably laugh. You probably think it's funny as hell. All right, yeah, let's keep going. Cowboys dapping Carlos dapping Cowboy. Andrew's saying so cool that Scott's kid is half Canadian. Yeah. I mean, it's smart. In today's day and world, give options to your children. Give them nationality options just in case. We don't know how this election is going to go this fall. In some ways, it may be very well that this kid's he's just Canadian now. This kid is just Canadian. I'm sorry. Not going back. No, not to MAGA Hitler down there. No, none of that. Yeah, it's very cool. Most of the Raptors, when they have their kids up here, do get Canadian citizenship, like DeRozan's kids and Lowry's and Van Vliet's. You know, these kids are all like Canadian also. And that really does give them options later when they're older. I mean, I have this option for myself. I'm a dual citizen, born in Canada, but got American citizenship in the United States. And having the options of living on either side of the border has been very nice for me. And I've spent half my life here and half my life in the United States. So, you know, that's been very helpful. And in some ways, those options are great. And in some ways, it's great for Scotty's kid because they don't have to go through a bunch of BS to try and work here or do different things here because they're already Canadian born. And that's fantastic. I'm pretty sure they had the baby here. Maybe not. I don't know. I would hope they did. I mean, the girl from Guelph's Canadian. We know that for sure. So they probably did have the baby up here. That's right. Yeah, Kareem saying 4 to 6 weeks for a shoulder contusion is crazy. Granted, it's preseason and Raptors are taking extra precautions, but I treated patients for this, and it was no longer than 2 weeks. See, this is somebody who's in the field. This is somebody who is in the field. In fact, get out of here, Dr. Ali. We've got Dr. Kareem now. That's right. Dr. Kareem is the second opinion. You're out, Dr. Ali. We don't want to hear your doomsday prognosis. We want to listen to Kareem Thomas. And what he's saying is like 2 weeks. I say he's superhuman. He's an NBA athlete. He's RJ Barrett. 12 days. And that is how long we've got until preseason's over. It was 2 weeks? That's what Andrew said. 14 days. We got 14 days till the first game of the season. Yeah, RJ is going to be ready. RJ is going to be ready. I'm sorry. And Lewinberg writing an article about whether RJ is going to miss games in the regular season. Yeah, hold your tongue. Let's see. I want to hear what's coming up. Now, Darko said officially that, yes, he's going to be out for the rest of the preseason, and they're going to go week to week on his progress. So they're going to find out every week. They're going to check in with him. So it could be the first week they look at him and say, well, RJ is almost healed. You're going to be ready for opening day against the Cavs. Now, that's what I see is going to happen. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to hold my getting the opinion from Dr. Ali, and I'm just going to go straight to Dr. Thomas at this point. I'm sorry. I'm just going to go talk to him. That's right. Cowboys saying good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Dap to you, Bradley. I hope you're having a great Wednesday. Hump day, baby. Humperdunk. Humperdunker. What was that Humperdunker stuff? Y'all started saying Humperdunker all of a sudden in here. And I was like, that's weird, man. Why are you talking about Humperdunker? I totally missed the joke, and you kept bringing it up. I think it's because Kareem was dunking or something. You called him a Humperdunker. I don't know. That's very weird. Very, very weird. Fiercely saying Lynx versus Liberty will be explosive. Wow. I mean, those are great teams. Good three-point shooting on both sides. Yeah, it's going to be fun. The best WNBA team win the championship this year. And I'm so glad it's not the Aces. That would get so tired. The WNBA don't need no tired-ass dynasty in their age of expansion with more eyes coming to watch the game. That it gets boring. Like every year, Becky Hammond, you're greedy. You're greedy. You just want to keep taking the WNBA championships? Well, you're going to hurt the sport. You can't have no Golden State in the middle of 2010s right now, WNBA. You're expanding, and you got more eyes on you than ever. And if you're going to play the same rerun every single year of Las Vegas winning the WNBA championship, well, that's going to get old real quick. So this is really, really good that they are not involved in the finals. Minnesota and New York are. That's what I'd say right there. I think it's going to be awesome. I agree with you. Tobias is in the house. Good to see Tobias back in the chat. Nako's saying, from what I heard, Pop cares a lot about the basics of basketball. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's part of the success of the Spurs franchise for 40 years now. I mean, you got to understand, Popovich came to the Spurs in like the 80s, y'all. He's been around the Spurs, and he started as that video guy. He started at the bottom, and now he's here. That's right, Drake. Yeah, he really did. And in some ways, he's been a head coach for like 30 years now. But he was an assistant coach, and he was involved in the Spurs back when David Robinson was playing for the team too. So in some ways, if you look at his own career and he cares about the basics and the steps of going and how and do things right, well, that's how he did things his whole entire time at San Antonio. And he still continues to this day. And you think he's skipping any steps with Victor? No, he's not. He's going to maximize the potential of Victor. And this is part of probably the reason why this NBA was very, very pleased to see that big Frenchman get drafted and sent to San Antonio, because they don't want him going to Washington or some other team and getting wasted and all messed up. The potential of him for being a star and what he can do, they can't have a team drop the ball on developing him. So in some ways, him going to the Spurs was ideal for the NBA, because in some ways he could have gone to one of those other really bad teams at that time, and he would be languishing, and they would miss out on the best possible potential of Victor Wembanyama. And that's not good for the bottom line, is what I'm saying on that. So, yeah, they're really happy that he went there. Tobias saying, I'll be ready to hear Darko bitch out the refs post-game. I hope that doesn't happen. If it happens, that means something egregiously bad happened with the referees, Ben Taylor. And we don't want that, just in case. I want Darko to be able to be professional and just talk about the game. But if the referees are an issue, and to the point where he has to talk about them in the post-game, well, that's a problem. And we don't want that, Tobias. I'd much rather him be talking excitedly about the great progress of his players than having to talk about, like, well, if they decided they were going to make the Lakers win no matter what, why do we even show up? No, I don't want to have any press conferences like that this year, because that means the NBA was screwing us over, and we don't want that. We don't want that at all. Andrew's saying apparently the refs are going to be a bit less whistle happy this year because of how much people enjoyed FIBA ball with the smaller amount of calls. Yeah, this is great. I mean, that's fantastic that Adam Silver is keeping his ears and eyes open and going to Olympics and watching and hearing and probably looking all over social media and getting all the interesting comments from people talking about it. He probably overwhelmingly saw that in some ways the FIBA game is more enjoyable to watch the NBA. So he's like, okay, we got to be more like FIBA. And this is the way they're going to do it. Rick Carlisle already announced that he's seen that this is going to probably happen. I'm for it. I'm here for it. In some ways, it's already been speculated that our Raptors roster, with it being a little bigger and a little bit more dog on the guard positions, is going to really flourish from this change. That we'll be able to operate in certain ways with people like Jamal Shead and Davion Mitchell that'll actually really benefit us because there will be maybe. Now, I don't totally trust this. They've done this before where they say it's going to allow more physicality, but then they wrench it up and start calling touch fouls in the middle of the season. It's almost like at the beginning of the year, they'll do everything they say they want to do with the officials, but then they'll forget about it at some point, and it'll all go back to the old ways. It's somewhere in the middle of the season. So I hope that they stick to their guns and they allow this kind of consistently throughout the whole year, but I'm not holding my breath on that because in some ways they say one thing and sometimes they don't totally follow. And they also can be really herky-jerky with it. Like there's been years in recent past where they have allowed more physicality at the beginning of the season. And then all of a sudden the whistles start coming out like crazy at a midpoint in the season also. So I don't totally trust this. I'll believe it when I see it. And we will take it game by game and I will analyze it as we go. Seriously, because this has been something that the NBA is trying to work on. And I like it. This is the right direction and their decision is good. But I don't totally trust that they will enforce it. And not only that, they may not enforce it fairly among all 30 teams. There may be different kind of weird stuff happening for particular teams, and particular teams is not happening for them. So we'll have to see. Fiercely saying, in hindsight, I believe the change was necessary. Darko has tailor-made his team, coaching staff, and players, and the front office is bought in to his vision. I'm super confident development is back. Last year was that wedgie year. It was a transitory year between eras of the Raptors franchise. The Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, remnants of the championship from 2019 to Scottie Barnes barbecue era with Barrett and Quickly. Now, this is really impressive in some ways, and nobody's brought this up, and I'm going to bring it up right now, how quickly the Raptors front office has modified and changed the team since Darko got hired. It really was one season. And by the time this offseason came, a 1 year of Darko being our coach, he's got what he wants around him. You got to think about when Masai took over as our GM and about over 10 years ago, and how much was holding over from Colangelo's reign as far as Jonas Valanciunas, Dwayne Casey, all kinds of different stuff, DeMar DeRozan, Masai kept around in his reign for a long, long time and worked with those pieces for a while. Casey was around as a coach for a long time, even though he was not hired by Masai. And that was smart because he kept the health of the team going in the right direction. If he just came in and said, no, you're not my guy, you're fired, Case, maybe we didn't get that championship. So it's smart. In some ways, you got to know who to plug in and plug out as far as when regime changes happen. And going from Nurse to Rajakovic, well, it does seem like Fiercely saying, we've had a seamless change to get the people that will work really well with what Coach Rajakovic wants to do. His coaching staff, fantastic. And now he's got a roster build that's more like what he would like to do with his ideas. And that's fantastic. Kudos to Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri for working with Darko to get him the picture that he needs to see on the team. That's right there. That's beautiful. Yeah, Andrew's saying, my grandpa lives in Florida, and he's coming back to Canada until the storm is over. That's fantastic. I love hearing this, Andrew. We want everybody safe. And yeah, everybody who's around Disney World or Busch Gardens or anywhere, Cape Canaveral, y'all get the hell out of there. And don't go south. Go north. Seriously. Go north. But yeah, it's nuts. This storm size is crazy. And anybody who thinks that's man-made, you're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. And why, if the USA is the greatest country in the world and they have a weather-making machine, why would they aim it at themselves is what I would say right now. Come on, let's Windhorst this on a Windhorst Wednesday. Does this make any sense? Oh, they made the hurricane to destroy themselves? That's so stupid. Let's keep going. Cowboys saying alley-oop to my guy Tom Dukes. That's right. I'm gonna give alley-oop to Tom Dukey. I'm gonna be doing the emotes now for a little while, guys. And because Tommy's not gonna be helping me with the channel for a bit, and that's fine. That's fine. Listen, he's done so much for my channel over the last few years that in some ways it's a grind. And he's so dedicated in helping me that he didn't have to do it. And in some ways, I've appreciated his help. But yeah, Tommy, you're awesome. I just gave you a 10-pointer. Tobias saying the closest weather disaster I was nearby or survived was Black Friday, July 31st, 3:30 p.m., Edmonton, Alberta. If you know, you know. I have no idea. Was it like a shopping thing, like at Walmart? Black Friday. That always makes me think it's like people running over each other to get into a store to buy TVs. That's what that makes me think of. Yeah, I have no idea. I've been through many hurricanes. Growing up in Florida, I have sat through hurricanes, and I know what it's like. Hurricane Kate in 1985 was the biggest one that I sat through, and I didn't have to go to school for like 2 weeks after that because it messed up Tallahassee. Hurricane Kate, woo, it messed up Tallahassee back in the day. But yeah, I've sat through quite a few hurricanes. In fact, I'm so stupid. In my college days, I would do things like drop acid and go hang out outside in the hurricane on a hill just to watch it and feel the energy of it. Yeah, I did that with my old roommate, Chris. Like in the mid 90s, I was like, let's go out and let's hang out in the hurricane. Now, these hurricanes were not like Milton. These were a little bit less strong hurricanes. And I wasn't near any trees when I did this. My parents are probably, what is he talking about? No, you did not do that, did you? I did technically when I lived at the Timbers, and Chris Heil was my roommate. We did that once, but we were fine. And it was kind of like a reinvigorating experience. We're like, we're alive. it was maybe kind of dumb, but it wasn't like at the peak of the hurricane. We were kind of watching it come in. And then when it was starting to get too crazy, we're like, all right, let's go back inside. Let's go back inside. Andrew saying, do you guys remember that ice storm in Ontario about 7 years ago? Yeah. I remember that ice storm. I mean, there's been a lot of different like blizzard kind of stuff. There was a hurricane that hit Toronto once, guys. And this is a long, long time ago. I wasn't around when it happened. But yeah, there was this one that came up the lakes and then came right up into Toronto, which was crazy. There was one way back then. Yeah. Tobias Sim, wasn't there one in 98? Yeah, I'm sure there's been like all kinds of different storms and stuff around here, ice storms and things. Trevor's saying the storm is clocking winds 130. They're also expecting tornadoes. Together with the storm, horrible Father God, play protection for those people. Yeah, seriously, evacuate. Don't mess around with this. Seriously, people that have been through this over and over again may be casual about it, like I was talking about with my story just now. Don't do that. Don't be an idiot like I was in college and say, oh, I'm going to go hang out on a hill and stand in it. No, that's no good. That's no good. Yeah, that's crazy, Andrew. Let's see. Yeah, there was one in 98 and another one in 2013. So 11 years ago. Yeah. Listen, I'm really happy with the natural disasters that come around Toronto. Very little. If we get anything, it's like an ice storm or a blizzard, not getting earthquakes, not getting a hurricane. No, very few tornadoes in our area. Also, we will get tornadoes every once in a while here, but not very often. So it is overall pretty safe place to live, Ontario, as far as natural disasters. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Tobias saying, wasn't there one in 98? That's right. That's crazy. Oh, yeah, I read that already. I seen something saying winds have gotten up to 180. Yeah, that'll take everything off the ground. That'll come through and just pick up cars, pick up whatever, and take it somewhere else. It's crazy. Tobias said, I remember more of the 98 one over the 2013 one. Yeah, I just stayed inside on those, and I was good. Fiercely said, I'm glad you apologized to Tom, and I hope he is listening right now. Well, either way, I'll privately talk to Tom. We're still friends. It's just that he's not going to work on the channel for right now. And he may be pissed off at me for a little bit, but that's fine. In some ways, Tom and I have had our differences in the past, and we don't always get along, and it's fine. In some ways, I love Tom. Tom's a great person, but also Tom has to understand I'm me. And in some ways, him and I may not get along on everything, and he has to accept that. That's part of the problem. I can accept it, but he needs to accept that maybe we're not going to get along and totally be on the same page also. He may have some designs about how I should be, and he needs to let go. is what I'll say also on the same of that. Because I'm fine with him saying what he said. It's just that in some ways, I guess I shouldn't have argued with him so vociferously, and maybe I was too personal with him. And I shouldn't have done that. That's where I think I went wrong. Cool Cat saying, "Good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Is the heading true? Yes, I'm pretty sure it is. I mean, Windhorst has got a very important reputation at this point in some ways. So he can't be saying stuff out of pocket. And who knows? Maybe Scottie's people would be mad at him if he told untruth. So I'm pretty sure it is true. I mean, it feels like it would be true. The picture that they released this summer of her belly showed that she was close. In some ways, wasn't like, oh, we're announcing we're 6 weeks in and we're getting pregnant. No, this is very much far along in the pregnancy, and this is coming soon. And in some ways, Scottie's like giving a heads up. Hey, there's a big change in my life coming up right now. And so I think it is true. And that the baby came last week, and that's why he stayed behind and didn't come to Montreal right away until Saturday. So I'm pretty sure it is. I mean, Windhorst that Windhorst is right. Is BrianWindhorst right? Maybe. Tobias saying not all of us have the same political beliefs, but we can still get along. Exactly. And I do want to preface and make the distinction that when I say rich people, I don't mean people that are rich that are like have $1 million or $2 million or like $3 million even. I'm talking about people that have $1 billion. I'm talking about people that have absolutely squandered the work of hardworking people in their organizations and made money off them by wage thefting them, by paying them very little and taking all the profits to themselves at the top. These are the people I'm talking about. I'm not talking about small business owners that do certain things. Now, if they do shady shit like wage theft from their people, then maybe, yeah, I am talking about them. But there's levels to this. And in some ways, this whole thing, like this is so dumb. And this is true. There's a lot of Americans down south that will protect the rights of a billionaire to be a billionaire because they have some sort of unrealistic feeling that they will be able to become one themselves one day. And they can't take that away from their own chance to do it. You have no chance of becoming a billionaire. First of all, either you're born into it or you rob people to get there. And in some ways, that's the silliest thing. The people protecting the billionaires when they're being exploited by those people. So I don't know. In some ways, Tobias is exactly right. And I know I'm very, very open, opinionated about my political beliefs. And in some ways, that's just part of the no filter on my channel. But I appreciate people for putting up with me for that. In some ways, I'm trying to not be so political right now, but it's really tough with the election coming up and so much bullshit out there going on right now. There is so much bullshit going on right now. That's for sure. Andrew's got Scottie and the baby. This is so cute. Look at that little baby head. That's so cute. And just saying, why do we have to wait until Friday for the next game? I want to see who gets locked in the shed next. That's awesome. I love that. Locked in the shed. You know what? That's a really good comment. I think we're going to have to say that this is going to be something we're going to say on this channel. Somebody got locked in the shed. Somebody's having an off night, and somebody's going to get locked in the shed. 145 for you, Andrew. You got 145 dunks now. I like that saying. We're going to say locked in the shed, and somebody had an off night. And those will be the two kind of things for Mitchell and Shed as they lock people up. Yeah, lock them in the shed. I love it. I love it. That's so perfect. That's so good. Why haven't I heard that yet? That's right. Well, we got to wait till Friday, Andrew, because we're doing another week of training camp at OVO. And these guys have been hitting it hard all week. We saw Scottie on first thing on Monday morning going to the OVO center like Pascal would and showing up around 5, 6 in the morning and getting going and showing that dedication, showing that leadership, showing that template for the young Raptors. This is how you do it. This is what Siakam showed me when I was a rookie. And I'm going to show you guys how you do it too. You show up early and you stay late. And Scottie's being that leader by example and by doing that and stuff. So I love that. I love that so much. And that's part of the reason why we're doing this week. We're cleaning up. We saw what we did really well on Sunday, but we need to go even further and establish even more principles and more layers to what we're trying to build with our young nucleus and the learning and developing that Darko's getting across to them. So that's what he said yesterday in the interview, is that practice is so important for this young core that I have to have them practicing over and over again. And even like people like Shamshay, and this is what he said, that with Shamshay, we're trying to establish things like eating and sleeping habits and also being on time, just very basic stuff that we want to get across and get to him as far as this is how you are a professional NBA player. that you need to eat right, sleep right, and you need to show up on time. And those are just basics. But in some ways, for an 18-year-old kid from Cameroon in the bright lights of the big city of the 416, he needs the basics to start from. And that's why we're not skipping any steps with him. That's right. We need to give him those basics. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Seymour saying, big up the whole Raptor Freak gang. Big up to you, Sheriff, the city slicker, out in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, just like Lance Storm, holding it down. That's right. Health, stealth, wealth, baby. There you go. There you go. I love it. And Cowboy saying, let's go. Ta-da. Sheriff, that's right. Ta-da, y'all. Ta-da. Let's go. Kareem saying, I'm a physiotherapist. Chiropractors get that doctor title, but on weekends, I do concrete. Okay. Wait, you're doing concrete on the weekends? What? I'm confused. I don't know. All right. Either way, I know technically maybe you're not a doctor like Dr. Oz, but that's fine. We'll still act like you're a doctor, Kareem. You used to say, hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Nick. Whatever we can do. I know you have knowledge on these subjects. So anything you can chime in on with this kind of stuff is great. And thank you for giving your side of what you see with RJ Barrett's separated shoulder. Because honestly, we need to educate the Raptors nation, not just take this doomsday from Dr. Ali and J. Lou. Seriously, we don't want the doomsday scenario. We want the best optimal scenario for a young man who is optimally in his athletic prime. And that's what I say right there. That's right. Trevor saying, get your TV set on Thursday night. Minnesota, New York, 5-game series for the championship. That's right, baby. WNBA finals starting on Thursday, tomorrow night. Let's go. Let's go. Andrew saying, I hope the Liberty win. One of the original eight teams, and they don't have a championship. The Liberty have never won a championship? Seriously? I would have thought New York would have stole one by now, but they have not? Wow. I did not know that, Andrew. I just learned something there. They have been in the league since the very beginning. That's crazy that they never won once. Holy cow. I did not know that. In some ways, I don't want them to win now. I want the Lynx to win. Let's go, Minnesota. Kareem saying, isn't Raptors Digest tired of for content? Not only that, made-up stories are freaking ridiculous. I know it's hard to find season, but dude needs to chill. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing over there. I'm not following them or watching anything that anybody else is doing. But if you guys tell me what they're doing, I can understand. Yeah, I don't know. We all can't be me as far as like fun and trivia and just having fun talking as a Raptors fan. Some people just got to be very like sensationalist or, they're clickbait artists. They want to write titles that'll make people just click on it. And they may not even care about what their actual content is. They just want the click. And in some ways, this is the thing. I'm like breaking all the molds. I'm not doing any of this for the same reasons as any of those motherfuckers. People try and diss me and saying, you don't even have 1,000 subscriptions. I don't care. Because in some ways, if I wanted to get as many subscriptions as possible, I could do a whole lot of things different and I would get way more subscriptions. But the thing is, I'm trying to do this to get the real ones, the people that actually love the Raptors. And I'm not pandering to every single kind of person that has interest in the Raptors, even the slightest. No, this is a very niche channel. And in some ways, the number not being that high, well, that's because we've got a lot of quality. And it's not about quantity here. And also the other thing that people don't understand, and in some ways, this may be part of why I don't totally jive with Tom, is I'm not a profit-driven person. I'm not doing anything for this. I can't be bought. I can't be sold out. That's the thing. I'm not going to be selling out in any kind of way. Rogers and TSN will never hire me because in some ways they see my show and they're like, yeah, this dude is crazy. And I don't want any of that. I'm not doing this for the money. I don't care if y'all throw super chats at me. I don't care if you become a member of my channel. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. But also at the same time, in some ways, Tom, when he started helping me with the channel, he's like, Lex, we could do this and this and make money. I'm like, I'm not trying to make money, Tom. And in some ways, there's philosophical differences in that. I'm not a capitalist. I'm not somebody who's trying to make money off people. In some ways, I love what I do. I do it for the passion. I do it because I love the Raptors. I do it because I want to inform the Raptors nation in a way that's fun and positive that is not like places like Raptors Digest and other places. In some ways, that is unfuckwithable. The fact that I cannot be bought is something that will drive people's nuts. And also, they will also make them think like, damn, Lex is like, he's just going to keep doing it. And we can't stop him. That's exactly right. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. So it's a weird thing. In some ways, it's like Raptors Digest is trying to get clicks. Raptors Digest is trying to make money. And my intentions are absolutely pure. And that's why I do what I do here. That's it right there. And in some ways, that's why I don't give a shit about pissing off Vince Carter fans right now. That's why I don't give a shit about honoring Vince Carter just because the Raptors are telling me to, because I am my own mind and I'm my own person. And I'm a huge Raptors fan since 1994. And it's not going to change. And that's just how it is. And so, it's a weird thing. It's a very weird thing. A person like me is very dangerous because they cannot be bought, is what I'll say right there. It's a very, very dangerous person when you cannot be bought. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, let's see. Andrew's saying that Kareem, I know he fishes for content and exaggerates everything. I respect the grind, but his videos became unwatchable for me. See, in some ways, people change and they go over time. Like maybe he has a formula and he's really trying to overwork it. And it's a certain point you just get fatigue about the formula that he's doing. As far as maybe it's like, all right, I gotta make them feel a little dissettled or not right or not unsettled. And that's a lot of what the media techniques are right now. The nightly news wants you to feel upset. The nightly news wants you to feel a little fearful. The nightly news wants you to be like a little reactive. If they're not getting reactions out of you, then they don't have you hooked. If it was just like, oh, the cat crossed the road and Grandpa Jones sold 12 dozen eggs today, everybody be like, oh, ho hum. No, they need to scare you. And in some ways, some of the Raptors creators are using those media techniques to keep people hooked and engaged. And it's the same damn techniques that the mass media and CTV and CBC and CNN and Fox News use also. So I'm not doing that. In some ways, I've done it at times just for fun, and then sometimes I do it as a farce or as a parody of them doing it. Like the one time I did a Sunday report on could the Raptors ever be relocated from Toronto? Sure, maybe that was a clickbait article. Whereas, but I was honestly exploring that subject to really actually see if there's any merit to the idea that the Raptors could lose the team here in Toronto. And I explored it and said no. But maybe I made a clickbaity title that one day and said, oh, come see if the Raptors are going to leave Toronto or not. Oh, my gosh. But I don't do that very often. And I don't really like doing it. I don't like doing it. Yeah. Cream saying, Lex, acid was the best $5 I ever spent. Damn, man. Did you do it under the tongue? Man, Cream, I don't want to talk about my LSD experiences too much, but let's just say I'm a very experienced acid dropper. And yeah, there's a lot of things I've done on acid. Let's just say, yeah, a lot of things. I went to Disney World on acid once. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Tobias saying, Lex, the disaster I'm referring to is the F4 tornado that happened in Edmonton. Wow. I see, because I'm an East Coast guy. I don't really know a whole lot about the Western Canada. I've never been to Alberta, honestly. I've never set foot in that province once. Seriously. I've been to BC. I've been to Saskatchewan. I've spent a lot of time in Manitoba, but I've never, ever been to the province of Alberta once in my life. So I really don't know a whole lot about out there. So I wouldn't have known about that tornado you're talking about, that F4. Ooh, those are nasty storms. That's what I do know, though. Kareem's saying that ice storm was insane. I've seen 80-year-old trees snap in half. It was pretty awesome seeing that natural disaster, but even more awesome was how humans were actually doing morally human things. Well, that is one thing I will say for Toronto, and everybody can say Toronto this, Toronto that, but Toronto, when the shit hits the fan and there's emergencies, we band together and we take care of each other. And it goes across all of our diverse lines. We really, really do. And it was evident in the pandemic. We did so much to help each other. In fact, I was so proud of my city during the COVID pandemic, just how much we came together and looked out for each other and did things the right way. In a city of so many different people, sure, there's knuckleheads running around. Like my ex-roommate that was out having hookers every night during the COVID, coming into our house and using our bathroom and stuff like that. Yeah, I was real mad at him for that. But a lot of times the multicultural people of Toronto come together when there is adversity. And I love that about that. In some ways, there's something very Star Trek about Toronto. I will say that. There's something very, very Star Trek about our morality and how we work together with our diversity helping us. And I love that. I love that so much. That's the kind of thing when there's adversity and you see the beautiful human spirit coming through it. Oh, man, that's one of the best things in the world, man. That's one of the best things in the world right there, for sure. Stargate saying that HAARP machine is working overtime. Yeah, no way. There's no way. Come on, Stargate. Don't be one of these people. Seriously, these hurricanes are real and they happen, and they've been happening way before we had any kind of technology to start the weather machine. So, all right, I want to say this, Stargate. We can see the clouds to cause rain, but we cannot cause these kind of force winds. It's just ridiculous to think that. So, and why, once again, I would say, why would they aim it at themselves if they had this? And if anybody's got this kind of technology, it's the United States. And also, you got to think about this: even the way that the Gulf of Mexico is shaped with Florida, that is from storms coming through and shaping the land over and over again through a cycle that has been happening way before we had TVs, way before like a whole bunch of things were happening. These are storms that have had a pattern hitting that landmass like this for centuries and centuries. So don't give me this weather machine conspiracy theory here. Don't do it. Don't do it. Bryce is saying 3 years ago, a record-breaking tornado completely tore through my hometown. I was in college at the time and left back home and couldn't recognize it. The place I've only known for 20 years. Yeah, they can be very devastating. That's the thing. Hurricanes are on a whole other level than tornadoes because they have tornadoes in them. Like, that's the thing. Tornadoes are destructive on their own. Just a funnel cloud comes down all of a sudden and just starts ripping up everything that it touches the ground on. Yeah, well, a hurricane can spawn multiples of tornadoes within it. In fact, I alluded to Kate earlier in the stream. In 1985, when Kate hit Tallahassee, there was a tornado that came right up next to my neighborhood that I grew up in. And it ripped down all these trees in the woods right next to it. And we heard it. It sounded like a train. And that it's all true, like the Wizard of Oz and like stuff that in the Midwest and all that stuff. When you hear a hurricane coming and then you hear that train noise, that's the tornado in the hurricane. And the hurricane spawns multiples of tornadoes. And that's why in some ways the hurricane's so much more dangerous than just a tornado out in the Midwest, because it has the tornadoes within it. And man, Bryce, I hope that your city recovered from that and is doing better and better since. But yeah, there's scary storms out there, man. Scary storms. Mike's saying locked in the shed is the plot of the room. I love it, Mike. Isn't that awesome? Locked in the shed. Who's he going to lock in the shed on Wednesday? He's probably going to lock those guys in the shed again. The same Wizards, Jordan Poole. Those guys are jokers, Kuzma and Poole. And I don't think that they can't be serious enough. And in some ways, it's going to be fun to see these guys just mess them up again. I think it's no joke that Kyle Kuzma only had 2 points on Sunday, because in some ways that guy's just not serious. In some ways, if he has any kind of resistance in front of him, like what was that? Really, only 2 points, Kuzma? If I was Wizards fan, I would be mad at him, and I'd be kind of like, well, "You're not serious about your career, are you?" And man, why am I a Wizards fan? Is probably what they're saying to themselves right now. Fiercely saying, Andrew, rooting for New York as well. Last year, they were eliminated. I love how they regrouped, added the right pieces, and enhanced cohesiveness. They also thank the fans a lot. I appreciate it. All right, there you go. New York Liberty. That's right, Brianna Stewart. Yeah, this is going to be fun to see this finals. In some ways, knowing that the New York Liberty has never won, I'm kind of like, okay, maybe they should win. But then again, I'm also like, New York City doesn't deserve this. We don't want them to celebrate. ESPN has a new ranking out of who they think is going to win the championship, and they are dissing the Knicks. They had not even put the Knicks in the top 15 to have a possibility to be in the finals or in the championship. That's funny. Did y'all just forget about them? Is that writer like a hater of the Knicks? Because y'all didn't even include them. There's the top 15 teams to likely be in the finals or be in winning the championship, and the Knicks are not even on the list. I guess somebody, once again, at ESPN is not doing their job because they forgot about the team from New York and getting Cat, and that's hilarious that that's happened. I don't understand that. I think that ESPN's really gone downhill with as far as who is contributing to it, and they're just not doing fact checking, and they're just not very good at their job at this point. They really, really aren't. Like I used to think ESPN was the creme de la creme to get sports information and stats for the NBA from, but not anymore. You guys are just not taking it seriously. It is like it's almost like the talking heads of Stephen A. Smith and all them have bled into the actual like stat heads and technical jobs on you, and nobody's taking it seriously anymore. Is really what it seems like at this point. Kareem saying Shamshay is probably so embedded in his home roots. He probably walks to work. He's excused for being late in my books. That man is not walking to work, Kareem, unless he's staying in the hotel that's part of the Scotiabank Arena and he's going to the practice court on top. No. That man's getting a ride everywhere. He may not live that far from OVO Center. So, and it's too cold right now. These guys I don't want them Raptors walking around outside, especially Shamshay, who's not used to Canadian winter yet and starting to get cold now. And in some ways, somebody needs to buy him a Canada Goose jacket right away and make sure that this dude is properly warm, because we don't want no DeMar DeRozan stuff where he didn't have no jacket and he got sick when he showed up in Toronto. That's right. Andrew's saying, let's go fiercely. Brianna Stewart is one of my favorite WNBA players. She reminds me of Dirk Nowitzki. Yeah, that's a pretty fair comparison in some ways. Well, I have a lot of respect for Stewart also. I really do. In some ways, I'm a hater of New York City, and I don't want to root for them to get championships in anything, whether it's baseball or whatever it is. Nothing. I don't want them to win nothing. It's just how I am. And think about this, guys. Fiercely, you may be a Liberty fan right now, but let's fast forward to when we have our WNBA team, and maybe we have a rivalry with the Liberty all of a sudden, and it may be that this changes, that you are like, I don't like the Liberty anymore. I could see this happening at some point, Fiercely Salsera. So I know that when we get our Toronto team, they're number one, but you're number two, and your other ones may be changing just because you're annoyed with the other teams. So that's what I would say right now. Don't get too attached to any of the existing WNBA teams, because we know where our heart and soul is behind our team that's coming here. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying at Kareem, Raptors Digest caters to young and mature demographic. It's not for the knowledgeable, wise older heads. Them and amateur hour sports are for young, still on the breast kids. Still on the breast kids. That's really young. That's like Scottie's kid. That's really young. Yeah, I didn't know that about amateur hour sports too. I mean, I get it. In some ways, I don't know. I feel bad for kids. If they're getting bombarded with this kind of sensationalism, come see us. People, be like Bryce. Be like the youngsters that are come here and they're understanding. It's like, these people make more sense. In some ways, I'm having more fun talking to Lex and the Raptors freaks than hearing the misery of Raptors Digest and all that kind of stuff. But Stargate makes some good points here, and it may be that the target audience is a bit different here than my channel, for sure. I think that's true, probably. Bryce is saying, I don't even click on their videos anymore. Shit really pisses me off. I'm liable to leave some comments. And I wouldn't blame you. I mean, I say pick your battles. It's not always worth it. In some ways, if somebody's giving you bad energy or making you feel bad energy, well, that maybe that's not your person, and you got to kind of like go look somewhere else. I mean, I get it. I'm not the energy for everybody either, but I'm trying to be an energy for certain Raptors fans, and I think that I found my crew. I think I found my people, and you guys are my people, and I love y'all for it. It's seriously. I mean, if they're triggering you with just the headline, Bryce, yeah, that's very on purpose. That's very on purpose. Stargate saying, I peeped those guys long ago, so I canceled them like about 3 years ago. I mean, seriously, I don't like Raptors content makers that aren't actually really for the team. Like, seriously, one of the main mantras and mottos of my channel is, if it's not going to help Masai and Darko and the Raptors team, I don't want to talk about it. In fact, I will spin in their favor on everything as much as possible. And people that think they're just being critical of the team or think that I'm not being realistic about the team, stuff it. You don't understand basketball in a way where we can be positive and building and not so destroying all the time with our takes and our opinions. And that's maybe the biggest difference between me and those two other channels, is that I'm trying to build just like the Raptors are trying to build right now in a rebuilding phase. These guys haven't even started this rebuilding year, and these guys on these other channels are already trying to tear it down in negative, like toxic ways. So yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference right there. That's right. Andrew's saying it'll be like a picture of Kuzma wearing a Raptor shirt, and then he will post an entire video going over Kuzma's stats and how he would fit with our team and who we could trade for him. See, that's ridiculous. Once again, I've seen this action from Raptors Digest a long time ago when I was watching them, and that the video I remember from way back was they were telling us how we could get James Harden, and they were going over every single way that we could get James Harden, and Riker was still there with Ben at that time. And he's basically like, they were so into the idea too. They're like, oh, we get James Harden here, it'll be so good for the Raptors. You dumbass kids. You haven't seen what James Harden has done in his career. And if we had gotten James Harden when y'all had said like 4 years ago when I was watching y'all, yeah, it would have been just like his stop in Philadelphia. So don't give me this crap. These guys are idiots. And in some ways, look, we can look at Kuzma. We can look at his career. You guys go ahead and go over the stats and all this shit. This guy's not serious about his NBA career. It's obvious. This guy's not really serious about life in general. And I don't want nobody like that coming to Toronto. It's like Chris Boucher said, if you're on the Raptors, you're here for a reason because you're a good player and you're bought in and you are serious about your NBA career. And Kyle Kuzma's not serious about his NBA career. And these guys making a whole clip about how to trade for him and get him on our team and all this stuff, this is ridiculous. It's just once again, I call this fan fiction. It's might as well you write a whole story about how the Friends cast had an orgy and make some sort of sex fan fiction. This is the same action to me. Writing a whole or making a whole video clip about how Kyle Kuzma could be landed here and who you trade for. First of all, you're talking about a sorry ass player that doesn't try, obviously, because he got 2 points in a preseason game against a Raptors team that's rebuilding, is not supposed to be very good. And then second, you're dissing players on the team by saying they're expendable, by saying, oh, I would just trade this person or this person from the Raptors to get Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, that's toxic. And Ben Rodgers, you should really find different ways to make your subject matter. Seriously, speculative trades is one of the worst things you can make your streams on. And you never, ever, hardly ever see the Raptor Freak ever, ever, ever center any of my content around a speculative trade that is, honestly, I just say, it's like, I'll talk about it when it happens, motherfucker. I don't waste my time talking about, well, what if this? What if this? We can what if all kinds of crazy shit in our lives right now. I will talk about it when it happens. If Kyle Kuzma, God forbid, ever became a Raptor, then I'd talk about it. But I'm not going to talk about it ahead of time. What's the point? You're wasting our time in making content like that, is what I would say to them. Nako saying, I think Raptors Digest said most of their audience is 35 and up. Really? That's weird. I mean, we have the diagnostics. We have all the stats and our YouTube creator channels on our studios. I could go look all that. I've never looked at any of that. I don't care. I could be like this crazy YouTube creator that's like looking at every moment. I could even probably find the places where people stop watching my channel. And I'll be like, oh, Lex, you shouldn't have said this. I don't want to get nitpicky with myself like that. I don't have time to overanalyze every little thing about my channel to optimize my YouTube success. No. In some ways, I have no idea who my audience is as far as the ages or anything like that. My audience is diehard Raptor fans from all walks of life at all ages. The one thing we have in common is that we love the Toronto Raptors, and we are for real about it. We're not half-assed about it. We're not talking like, oh, we love the Raptors when they're winning. Oh, no, I love the Raptors, but I also love the Golden State Warriors more. No, none of this shit. We're number one Raptor fans, and we're number one positive, and we want our team to do well. And that's the difference right there. That's right. That's what the demographic I know. I don't know the ages, but I do know that that's the common thread about this channel right there. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Fiercey. That's right. Andrew's saying, I've been, hang on, it jumped ahead. Let me just say, I've been to more states in the U.S. than provinces in Canada. I've only been to Ontario, Alberta, and Quebec. Yeah, I've been around a bit, but not really. Most of the time I've been in Canada has been in Ontario for sure. I've been to Quebec just very briefly. I haven't even barely been there. I've not been anywhere out east. And I've been to the Yukon. I have been to the Yukon, but, that's about it. That's about it. Andrew's saying, bro, a weather machine sounds like something out of The Simpsons. I mean, listen, there are things that can make weather, sure, but on a small scale. There's no way that they have a machine that can make that storm that they just made. There's no way, seriously. And once again, I would say this. Who would make the storm and send it to us like this? Who would do that? If there is somebody who man-made this storm, would it be the Russians? Would Putin have that machine and send it to us? I don't think he has the resources. He's lost almost all his people in the war in Ukraine. They're bankrupt. They're basically China's bitch. How the hell are they going to have a weather machine? Does China have the weather machine? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Seriously, think about what we're talking about. And I don't even know why I'm trying to even try and connect the dots on a conspiracy theory that's just so far-fetched. Seriously, so far-fetched. And what kind of evil is actually unleashing these kind of storms if they have the power to do that? Seriously, what kind of evil is doing that? That's right. Let's see. Mike's saying, I thought China had the weather laser first. So you think it is China? Yeah, I don't know. Weather laser? That sounds so stupid. A weather laser. Oh my gosh. Andrew's saying Raptors Digest caters towards the casuals of our fan base. Yeah, that's probably part of it. I mean, listen, we may be more of a minority in the Raptors fan base in some ways, because in some ways, look, the team's not doing as well. People aren't as bought in. They're not going to be as serious of being fans of the Raptors as dedicated as we are. And some people, that, like you said, they're casuals. And in some ways, that's probably exactly right, Andrew. Is exactly right. Kareem saying to lock a wizard in the shed sounds funny to me. Yeah, we're going to lock a wizard in the shed. We'll lock a few wizards in the shed. That does sound funny too. Yeah. Seymour saying, lock them up in the shed. That's right. Let's lock them up in the shed. That's right. Fiercely saying, no more Knicks glazing from ESPN. Yeah, I don't understand that. Why did they not put them on the list? ESPN, what are you doing? Why did you not do that? That's right. Trevor saying Jordan Poole takes some bad shots all the time. I'm ready. I'm ready for him to take some more on Friday. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. And there's a little wizard. Why is he out? We need to get him in the shed real quick. Tobias is saying ESPN only cares about LeBron and what he's doing, nothing else. I think that's pretty true. Lakers, LeBron, JJ Redick, Bronny. Yep, that's probably pretty right. Andrew's saying when the Lakers last played, the NBA posted 11 times about it, either Bron or Bronny in the span of an hour on their Instagram. Yeah, it's going to be like that this season. ESPN, you're such a joke. Thank God NBC's coming back to cover the NBA, and hopefully they'll come back and they'll do real journalism, and everybody will see the difference, and everybody will be like, man, ABC and ESPN and Disney suck for covering basketball. TNT's in between. They can be a little bit like talking head with their guys, but they're going to be gone soon. And then NBC, that's what I'm saying. Hopefully NBC can bring back some quality to the broadcasting. But the way everything's going in the world today, I'm not totally holding my breath that they will. It could end up being just as crappy as ABC. We'll have to see. All right, let's go and look around and see what's going on. Instagram stories. Norman Powell is in San Diego with the Clippers. They played a preseason game in San Diego, and much like Chris Boucher got to be a host and talking to Montreal this weekend, Norman Powell got to do the same thing in his hometown of San Diego just recently, getting to address the fans before the game and saying, this means so much to me to be back in my hometown playing for the Clippers in front of y'all in this preseason game. So that's awesome. I love that Norman got that moment to have a game in front of his hometown in San Diego and address the crowd and tell everybody growing up in San Diego, this just means a lot. It's full circle for him. Champion of the Raptors, Norman Powell, we love you forever, my guy. Seriously, that's awesome. Let's see what else we got. Shamshay posting some of his media day pictures up and getting a lot of reactions from people liking it. A lot of his teammates liking his media day pictures. Let's see who else we got. We got the Shed, and he's celebrating a Texas Longhorns player. I'm not totally sure. He's always posting his football. Guys, success. Yes, we are the champions, my friend. The champions of the G League Jersey tournament. That's right. Raptors 905's Chinese Lunar New Year jersey won best jersey, specialty jersey for NBA G League last year. We got all the way to the end, and we won, y'all. So the Raptors 905, Raptors just have the best jerseys in the NBA and the G League. That's just the damn truth. Everybody loves the classic Raptor jersey from original Raptors. They love our City Edition jersey this year more than anybody else's. And now our specialty jersey for our G League team is the number one specialty jersey for the G League. Yes, we did it, y'all. Woo! Woo! Good job, designers of jerseys. Yes, very, very good. So awesome to see that. Raptors are putting on blast the Hometown Heroes OVO collection. Of course, there's some Leaf stuff in that also. We've got a Raptors hockey jersey. Very, very cool. Some hoodies and T-shirts. Go out and get the stuff that's being put on by Morris Peterson and Muggsy Bogues. Great Hometown Hero this season for OVO. Chris Boucher showing some pictures of him and his friends from Montreal this weekend. And yeah, there he is before the game, getting ready to play in Montreal. Fantastic stuff. Scottie has a brand new ad for the Skilled Trades College of Ontario or Canada. And Jack Armstrong is in the commercial again as the host of the game show. And Scottie's wearing the hard hat. And the young lady next to him is like they're helping each other on the answer. And then Scottie gives the answer for the young lady, and he said, "We'll lock this in as a team." And Jack gets mad, and he says, "This is not a team game. You're supposed to be against each other." It's a pretty funny clip. I'm wondering, did they film all these all at the same time a long time ago, and they have these coming out over and over time, like they're building the story? Because, or did they actually get together and film these again every once in a while? I don't know. The Skilled Trade College thing that Scottie's doing is fantastic, and the commercial is hilarious. Seriously, I love it so much. It's so funny. Scottie, you're really funny. And Jack Armstrong, you're hilarious too. So there's the Instagram stories real quick. Not a whole lot there. These guys are busy. They're at OVO. They're grinding. They're getting their development in, and they're connecting, and they're learning more about what Darko wants them to do this season. So it's very, very, very busy, and no time to be posting on Instagram. That's right. Trevor's saying, come on, Lex, you do not like the city that I grew up in. Do one visit. It might change your mind. You're talking about New York? Listen, it's not that I don't. All right, I gotta preface this and say this the right way. I have nothing against the city of New York. I have things against their teams. I've never been to New York City. I'm sure New York City is very similar to Toronto in some ways, as being a very multicultural, very fun city that has a lot to do. I have to admit, I've never been there. I've never been to Montreal either, guys. I've never, ever been to Montreal as a city either. So I have cities I've never been to. I've never been to LA either. I've never been to Los Angeles. So, it's just like that. I don't like New York because in the history of sports, Toronto teams have always had to battle with New York teams because of geography. So it's very much sports based, Trevor. It's nothing against the people in New York. It's nothing against the actual Big Apple and the city. I mean, I love David Letterman. I think he's amazing. Times Square looks like an amazing place. I think that New York, in some ways, is a lot like us. And when 9/11 happened, and a lot of different things happen, adversity, they come together, just like I just described about Toronto in multiculturalism and diversity. So let's separate the two things. It's not that I hate New York City. I don't like their sports teams. I hate the Yankees. I do not like the hockey teams. I do not like. I'm not a big fan of the football teams either. So I just don't like the New York sports teams, is what I'm saying, Trevor. Just so you know. But I can separate the city and the people from that and say, you know what, New York looks like an awesome city. In fact, I would say New York is probably one of probably the best city in the whole entire United States. How about that? So, Trevor, I'm not hating that much. I'm only hating the sports team. I absolutely hate the Yankees. In some ways, I kind of like the Knicks, but also I hate the Knicks also. So it's a weird situation. Tobias saying Raptors Digest still exists. I haven't watched that channel in years. Yeah, it still exists. And some of you probably say well, Raptors Freak still exists too. Holy crap, what the hell? We're saying Kuzma is a runway model, and Raptor Harden is a strip club legend. Not neither a Raptor. Yeah, Kuzma's not a serious person. He just isn't. In some ways, I never want Kyle Kuzma to show up here. There may have been a time earlier when he was younger in his career, but now look at where he is in the point of his career and where he's at and how he carries himself. He's never going to grow up. He's never going to grow up. He's almost like a 10-year vet at this point. So he's a waste of time. Let's just put it that way. And there's a reason why he plays for the Wizards. How about that? Carlos saying, I saw a live from who shall not be named. He has some good takes, but man, he is so pompous and so dramatic, so completely different from Lex. It's tiring to listen. Yeah, in some ways, look, I commend Pensair for getting more positive this summer. But once again, I'll say the only reason why he did is because in some ways the things that he was all about happened. And he wanted Scottie to be the number one franchise face. That's not what I wanted. I wanted Scottie to get the ability to learn under Pascal and Fred step by step in the right way. And in some ways, we'd be in a different place as a team if this could have happened in a certain way. But it wasn't going to happen. It didn't happen. And we are where we are. And I'm okay with that. But in some ways, that's part of the reason why Pensair is so happy at this point. I mean, his Pensair people hate Fred so much. It's insane how much they hate Fred. There's no reason to hate Fred like this. And once again, I will tell everybody who thinks that I'm crazy about Fred that you got to understand, Nick Nurse told Fred to play the way he did. And you got to understand also, Scottie was not going to just come into the league and be our number one player as a rookie. And everybody who was like mad that they thought Fred was holding Scottie back, you're idiots. You always were idiots. In some ways, Fred was helping Scottie get better in the right way, in the right steps. And y'all are the people that want to jump steps. And I don't want to hear this shit with Shamshay. In some ways, Scott still has steps to do with his leadership and being the franchise player. And in some ways, are y'all going to bitch and moan that Scottie's not getting exactly what he wants, like Robert Pensair does all the time, even though he is the face of the franchise now? And for sure, all this. I mean, some people, like our friend Shannon, would argue that Scottie's not ready to be the leader and that RJ needs to be the leader because he is more like the leader. But I don't think RJ cares. In some ways, RJ can be a secondary leader or next to Scott. And if Scott really wants to be the franchise face, that's fine. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like these guys just kissed the ass of Barnes for his first 3 years of his career. And in some ways, talk a lot of trash about the leaders that were there before him and chased them out of the city. So yeah, of course, Robert's happier now. Because in some ways, the people that were in the way of what he wanted are gone now, whether it's Fred, Pascal, or Dennis even last year. Yeah. No, I have no respect for Robert. And even though he's more positive right now, he's still a jackass. And a lot of his views on Fred are still absolutely wrong. And it's proven over and over again. We can see what Fred VanVleet has done for the Rockets in just 1 year. We can hear Scottie himself in the last interview. He did give kudos to Fred for being the most important leader to him when he came in as a rookie. So every narrative that channel has pushed about Fred VanVleet and Scottie Barnes has been absolutely debunked and wrong. And everybody over there that's still saying, no, you were wrong about Fred. He's selfish. He's selfish. No, he's not. Fred is the captain. Fred was the leader. Fred was in charge. And Fred was the one who was doing what his coach told him to do. If his coach had told him to just overfeed Scottie Barnes the whole entire rookie year of Scottie Barnes, he would have done that. That's the thing that these idiots on Pensaire's channel don't get is Fred is a team player. He listens to his coach. You don't think he's listening to M.A. Udoka now and saying, what do you want me to do, Coach Udoka? Okay, you got it. I'm like Burger King. Have it your way. You tell me what you want, you order it, and I give it to you on the plate. That's the thing that dumbasses don't get about Fred VanVleet or Pascal Siakam when they played alongside Scottie, is that they were directed by Nick to ball hog and do the things that they did. And everybody who thinks that he was selfish, you're idiots. You're all idiots, just like Robert, for thinking that. You're idiots. You just don't get how basketball teams work. It's not like Fred was just able to be a dictator and do whatever he wanted when he was on the Raptors those last couple years. No, he was following Nick Nurse's orders on how he wanted him to run the team. If Nick wanted Scottie to be the role that you wanted him to be, he would have got him to do that. So y'all want to blame someone for anything with Scottie in this. First of all, y'all were stupid because nothing was wrong with what was happening with Scottie. Scottie was getting developed. Scottie was learning. Scottie was a rookie. Scottie did not know what he was doing when he first came to the NBA. He's learned fast. He's gotten better. But if you want to blame somebody for Fred being so selfish to Scottie for 2 years, oh my gosh, woo-hoo-hoo, blame Nick. I don't understand how people could be so stupid. There you go. Carlo, thanks for bringing that up. Seymour saying, I can't digest. Raptors digest. That is so witty. I'm going to give you a dunk, man. I'm giving out 10 pointers today. So you're 152, man. 152, Seymour. That was awesome, man. City Slicker, you're so hilarious, man. All right, let's keep going in the chat. Fun, lively discussion today. And we're talking a lot about other content creators today. It's kind of fun, man. Yeah, that's kind of fun. All right, let me see. Where am I here? I want to make sure I don't miss any of y'all's comments. That was pretty funny. Let's see. Where am I here? No. I want to make sure that okay, here, Andrew's saying, Carlo, yeah, I'll agree. He's educated and does have good takes, but he does takes certain things too seriously. You know, I don't even know. I barely watched him. Seriously, I hear about what y'all are saying. I've seen clips. I've heard about him leaving his porn up on his screen by accident while he's doing his stream. I mean, in some ways, I've not really gone over there at all and really listened to him too much. I do know how much he was very, very anti-Fred VanVleet. And in some ways, that's where the problem with him and me started. Is like, yeah, the ideas about Fred are ridiculous. In fact, it's so bad that some people do not agree that Fred VanVleet should have his number retired for the Raptors. Like, there's Raptors fans that say they're passionate Raptors fans, but they think that he doesn't deserve it. Y'all are ridiculous. Seriously, you do not understand. Fred VanVleet's journey in the NBA is unique, and there's nobody else like him, and it deserves honoring. If there's anybody in the history of the NBA, in the history of the Raptors, that has the most underdog story in the history of the Raptors, it is Fred VanVleet. As we are the franchise of underdogs, he is the ultimate underdog in our history. And anybody who thinks that Fred should not get the accolade that Vince is going to get very soon, you're absolutely crazy. Because seriously, I don't even care that he sold out and went and got money in Houston. That man did his time on our team. He had all the accolades here. And honestly, he deserves it. He's a champion. He's a G League champion with our franchise. He has franchise records for our team. He's an all-star who came from undrafted. That is one of the biggest success stories, and that is something to be celebrated and put up in the rafters. So, but because of Robert and other people with their misinformation about Fred, they're going to cloud it to make it seem like he's like Vince and that he doesn't deserve a full 100% approval to be something like that down the road. Yeah, I'm gonna call it right now. And this is what we'll do, Raptors Freak family. When this comes around, we will talk the truth about Fred and make sure that the positive reviews and the positive things are said when these idiots come out and start calling him a selfish chucker. Yeah, and even some of them people come out and start calling him a midget. Yeah, that's dehumanizing, and you're not a Raptors fan if you call Fred VanVleet that word that I just said right now. That is that you're not a Raptors fan if you've ever called Fred VanVleet that word. I'm sorry. That's just the damn truth right there. That's right. That's right. Seymour saying they make my stomach hurt. Raptors Digest makes your stomach hurt. That's not good. That's not good. You need a digestive then. Seymour saying tornadoes never hit prisons or police stations, court buildings. No, they hit everything. It's just that we always used to hear they hit trailer parks the most. But yeah, they hit everything. But part of it is because there's trailer parks everywhere. A trailer park's going to get hit by a tornado. Yeah. Mike's saying it was in the news in 2008. China tested a weather laser and they expanded it over the years. They make rain. Well, they can make rain already here, and it's seeding the clouds. And in some ways, that's something that's been used. And in some ways, we shouldn't be messing with the natural like weather of the world. In some ways, that may be causing some of the problems right now, is because we've done unnatural things to the weather in certain ways. I just think that anybody who thinks that there's some sort of way to make this storm Milton by humans, you're crazy. This stuff is all made off the coast of Africa by natural wind and air patterns that come and form in a swirling mass. And that's what happens there. I mean, this is just a pattern that's been happening way before man had any kind of industrialization. There's been storms like this manifesting like this for a very long time. And this is just the worst of it because they're building. That's what it is right there. Carlos saying weather manipulation tech would be so helpful right now with all the extreme weather events. I doubt we are there yet. Well, they're saying that they're creating them. And in some ways, who thinks that everybody's Lex Luthor out there? I mean, Jeff Bezos does kind of look like Lex Luthor. But yeah, I mean, if they're going to do weather manipulation, in some ways, if they were humanitarian, they'd go and help it rain where there's drought. They'd go and help it rain where it's drought and help out people that are having a hard time just eating in certain areas of the world. That's what I would say. If we're just in a great society, that's what we would be doing. But once again, I don't know if that's what's happening. Stargate saying the basketball hating hockey folks just love channels like Raptors Digest. You shall not be named in amateur hour sports. They love the negative narrative being spewed. Yeah, that's part of it. Like it may be the fan percentage of like whether they like hockey or basketball or baseball. Even some of them are Blue Jays fans that aren't really into the basketball as much. And in some ways, it's also we got to remember that the media and people in this city are used to media for the Leafs and the Blue Jays. And some of it's very cynical and depressing and down. And that may be that they only know how to do stuff like that because that's how Leaf Nation is. And that, oh, well, we're going to just do this how we do it with like we do in Leaf Nation. We're just going to doomsday and make everybody feel awful and cynical about everything. And I get it in Leaf Nation why y'all are cynical. You have every reason to be cynical. But in Raptors Nation, we don't. And that's why I would tell those content creators, know your audience. And maybe they do. And they just want to be like that. Well, I'm glad I offer the alternative. That's what I'll say right there. Mike's saying last year, researchers at the National Taiwan University said that the lack of proper coordination of weather modification activity could lead to charges of rain stealing between neighboring regions. Yeah, I don't know, man, Mike. In some ways, I don't want to go down this too much. In some ways, I don't want to get into weather conspiracy theories. I know I've touched on it a bit, and it is a topic du jour in the mainstream media right now. But let's not delve into this, and especially let's not like start purporting where there could be more of this happening, or it could be actually valid, because honestly, it's not for the storm Milton, and that's what matters. The storm Milton is a natural made disaster, and people that think it's man made, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Now making rain in a small place, yeah, that's possible. But making a huge storm like this, no, you can't do that. You cannot do that. If they could do this, they'd start sending these kind of storms exactly where they want to go. No, there's a natural pattern of weather that has done this forever, is what it is. Carlos saying the one I hate from the pit of my guts, amateur hour sports. Yeah, I barely watched him. I thought he was pretty good. I thought you guys used to say he's not bad, but I guess he's gone a little negative then. I guess he's gotten a little negative. Yeah. Andrew saying, yes, sir. Get more young people in the trades. In the trades. Yeah. Carlos saying, how's your gas license test, Andrew? That's an interesting question. I don't even remember that. Seymour saying the Bronx is my favorite part of New York. Yeah, I'll maybe I'll go there someday. I don't know, maybe not. I'm not that interested in going back to the United States right now. That's for sure. Stargate saying Lex and Chev, 100%. Everyone else is playing catch up, in my opinion. I love that, Stargate. I appreciate that. I have not heard much about Chev recently. I know he's not really on YouTube anymore, and I have no idea where he's gone and like what he's doing. I hope Chev's doing really well. I hope that Chev is still finding a good audience and he's still doing what he does, because in some ways I really do look at him as somebody doing a very similar thing as me and trying to hype and up the Raptors fans and keep it positive. So NBA Chef, blessings and guardianship and protection to you, man, in every kind of way. That's what I'll say right there. Facts. That's right. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with Chef. I have no idea. Nako saying I like Raptors Report, Will Lou, and Raptors Republic. Raptors Republic overall is very, very good. There's a lot of different people that work for Raptors Republic that have been very, very good over the years. Samson Falk is my number one favorite. Oren Weisfeld's a great person that's been around Raptors Republic also. A Raptors Report is a little bit more new. They only show little clips on YouTube from time to time, but I've enjoyed what they put together. Of course, we love our guy, Logical Raptors Fanatic, when he's active making content. Will Lou's all right. I don't mind those guys. As long as Will's staying positive and happy and not depressed, he's good. Alex Wong is always good. And yeah, the hello and welcome guys are, yeah, 2 thumbs up from me. If you watch them, they're great to watch. Seriously. Andrew saying, Carlo, I passed both my exams for my licenses, so I've got my G2 gas ticket and OBT2 oil ticket. Thanks for asking. Wow. That sounds like heavy stuff right there. Mike saying China has long side. All right, Mike. I think I'm going to go ahead and just skip that one. I'm going to skip that one. Sorry, Mike. And all due respect, if you got a basketball comment, I will read the next one. But yeah, I'm not gonna look at that anymore. Those kind of comments right now. Nako saying I'm thinking of getting into HVAC, trying to see if I can get my G2 while doing co-op. That's a great idea, Gerald. Seriously, those kind of jobs, just like our friend Nameless becoming a plumber in recent years, they never go away. These are jobs that will always be used. And just like Scotty's telling everybody, get in the trades. That's the way to go. In some ways, we can't all be doctors and lawyers. And, half the university degrees don't give you a career path anyway. So I would say this, Gerald, go and do it. Get your HVAC and then come help me with my air conditioning. If it's in trouble, come fix it for me. No, seriously, that's a really good thing to land on and have, and you can always make an income from, Gerald. So I highly recommend that, my guy. Highly recommend it. Stargate saying, Lex, now that Chev has his camera thing going on, can we expect a one-time special joint stream? Maybe Kenny and Dana can set it up. I would love to collaborate with Chev. I would love to. I don't know if that's possible. Is he on camera now? Is he not just like doing voice? He actually is showing himself now. That's cool. Yeah, whatever. I mean, if people are in contact with him and know him, if Dana's got a relationship with NBA Chef, I'd love to do that. I'm gonna do To the Point soon. And I've done other shows in the past. So if Chev wanted to collaborate with me, I'd say yes, for sure. Andrew's saying, Nako, HVAC is awesome, man. Do you have your G3 yet? You're talking about licenses. Interesting. Yeah, we'll have to see. Seymour saying, even Locked On Raptors is trash, Lex. You're the only solid channel. Keep them coming. Yeah, I wish Sean Woodley would be more positive. But once again, this is just a condition of the world. In some ways, everything is depressing in certain ways. The Leafs are depressing. And Toronto sports fans are just used to getting depressing content makers. Well, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to try and do my best to shine the light and make it fun to be a Raptors fan, even if we're having a very difficult year. Last season was tough at times when things went south at the end of the year, but we still have fun here, didn't we? we had some fun times still. Andrew saying, honestly, Fred is a great teacher for the young guys in Houston. He's huge. And the fans in Houston love him. The fans in Houston are like, you're a breath of fresh air, Fred. Oh my gosh, thank you for coming to this team and getting us out of the mud. In some ways, this is the thing. The Raptors with DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, and then the bench mob got themselves to a championship. The Rockets have been reeling in mediocrity, worst team in the West for years. The James Harden years, all the bullshit that the Rockets nation has been through, they've been stuck in the wheels, kind of bottom of the conference for so long. And Fred is that man pulling them up out of there himself. I'm telling you, it's him as the leader, along with the nice young talent they've been acquiring in the last couple of years. But it doesn't happen exactly the way it does without Van Vliet being down there. And Houston Rockets fans love Fred. And I wish Raptors fans would respect Fred just as much across the board like they are right now. Seriously, I'm so sick of the Fred hate by Toronto Raptors fans. Y'all aren't fans if you hate Fred. If you do not like Fred VanVleet, you are not a true Toronto Raptors fan. I'm going to say that right now. Some people say, well, if you do not like Vince Carter, you're not a true Raptors fan. Motherfucker, I can give you every reason why you're a real one if you do not like Vince Carter. I can give you every reason why on that. And I can give you every reason on why if you like Fred VanVleet, you are a real one. And if you don't, I got to talk to you about why. Why do you not like Fred? What's wrong? You think he's arrogant? You think he was cocky? Motherfucker, to be 5'10 in this league, you have to be cocky to get to where you're going. That's just how it is. That's right. Seymour's saying, I believe Minnesota won the trade between the Knicks. Randall is more efficient than Towns, and Towns at the 5. Laugh out loud. I'm laughing like Jimmy Butler. Towns softer than baby bottoms. This is funny because that was an issue when Jimmy was there. He didn't like the Minnesota guys. He thought that they were kind of, soft. That's the word he said. This is very interesting. I like your take on this, Seymour. In some ways, New York is going to miss DiVincenzo. He killed us in one game last season where he absolutely went off on threes and won the game himself against the Raptors for the Knicks in one of our games last season. Well, they don't have that guy no more to do that. And if you think Landry Shamet or some other former Nick that's come back and playing for you guys off the bench is going to fulfill that Dante DiVincenzo, big balls, shooting threes like that. No, it ain't happening, Knicks. And in some ways, you're losing some of your intangible, crazy-ass players like DiVincenzo and Hartenstein this year. And maybe even Randall on the down low will be missed in certain ways that you didn't even realize. So I could see that. And you know what, Seymour? I'll get behind this. Minnesota won the trade. I'll get behind this. That's right. Yeah, Fiercey's laughing about Seymour's digestive issue with Raptors Digest. Stargate saying, he who shall not be named is a hypocrite. He was one of those folks who was going ballistic when the Raptors picked Scottie over Suggs. He was cursing like no tomorrow for that. Yeah, see, it's ridiculous. And it's so funny how he's become like the biggest brown noser ass kisser for Scottie Barnes since. Like, it's serious. Like, this is the thing. I love Scottie. We know that I've spent so much time watching him on Twitch. We know that there is a connection in some ways that he knows who we are. And that in some ways I'll talk up Scott, but I've been very fair with him too. And I'll say stuff like, Scott, you better listen to those leaders on your team. Scott, if you ever do something like Vince Carter, I will treat you like Vince Carter. I'm not so blind that I'm just going to kiss Scott's ass like Robert Pensera does. Like, I love Scott, and I want the best things for him. And in some ways, I can identify with Scott way better than Robert, being a kid from Tallahassee and going to Florida State, just like Scottie did. Being a kid who grew up in Florida, just like Scottie did. And being a Toronto Raptors fan, number one, just like Scottie is Toronto Raptors number one person. So it's kind of sick. Like, I see him in places like the Raptors Media Day, and he's just writing like kissing ass kind of comments towards Scottie during his media day in the middle of the comments. And like, I just see him doing this all over the place. And I'm just like, man, you're like a little girl with in sync or something like that. You're like Scottie, you're like that kind of fan. Robert Pensera with Scottie. It's kind of sick. And it's funny too, because Stargate's talking about his origins with the when we drafted Scottie. It's funny. It's funny. Eye candy. Let's go. Kareem saying, if Fred wasn't there, Scottie wouldn't be Rookie of the Year. Whoa, I'm going to give you a big 10-pointer for that, Kareem. That's not like how you get dunks normally. That is not how you get dunks normally, and you deserve this so much. 353, my guy. Wow, the top gets higher. That is such a good point. I'll say that's exactly true. Without Fred around, Scottie probably isn't Rookie of the Year. I believe this. I would say the same thing for Pascal, OG, and whoever else was on the team that year in the first year of Scottie Barnes. That we had a really good team around him. We did well enough with our record that Scottie had consideration for Rookie of the Year. If we're not a winning team, we don't do those things, he doesn't get that consideration. And in some ways, this echoes Vince Carter's Rookie of the Year. Vince Carter, he said recently in interviews, like, I was lucky. I came to a team. Most guys come in this league, and everybody on the team is young, and there's like 2 or 3 vets now in the NBA. But when I came to the Raptors, there were only 2 young guys, and everybody else was vets. And that was a huge, huge reason why Vince was so successful immediately with the Raptors, is because of Kevin Willis, Del Curry, Muggsy Bogues, D. Brown, Charles Oakley. Yeah, those guys, they were protecting Vince. And in some ways, they helped build him up to get to that Rookie of the Year. So in some ways, Vince doesn't get anything that he got without the veteran makeup of the Toronto Raptors when he got drafted to them as a rookie. And we could say the same damn thing about Scott. We can say the same damn thing about Scott. Scott doesn't win Rookie of the Year without the veteran core of the Raptors' old core around, as much as Robert Pencere's butt gets pinched by that. Ooh, no, that's not true. Fred was horrible for Scott. No, I think Kareem's right. Scottie doesn't win a Rookie of the Year without those vets around him and the Raptors winning a certain amount of games in his first. Yep, yep, yep. Right there, right there. Nako's saying, I don't have my G3. Well, go get it right now. Stargate saying he only became Scottie fan after Scottie won Rookie of the Year. He's full of shit. I thought he was doing it right away. So he didn't do it until after that year was over. And then he started. Okay. Yeah. What an idiot, man. And just saying, oh, yeah, you got to get your G3 before your G2. Okay. Yeah. Get on it, Nako. Get on it. Yeah. And Tobias saying a huge FU to the Fred haters. Fred deserves his jersey retired in Toronto. Exactly. Exactly. I don't understand how you can't love Fred. Seriously, that man bleeding on the side of his face, laying on the ground during the finals, that man yelling, that guy doing the big balls, that guy was our swagger. That dude is such a bona fide Raptor, and he still is with us today. Seriously, even though he's on the Rockets, he's guiding people like Jamal Shed. His son says, Daddy, can we watch Raptors? And he's like, yes, Junior, we'll watch Raptors. And he says he loves watching the Raptors when he can, and he still cares about our team. Listen, he's like DeMar. He's like DeMar. He loves Toronto. And Fred VanVleet will be an honored alumni of our team going forward. And he won his championship here. You think that he's going to turn his back on his legacy here like Vince Carter did? No, he's not. He will come back and he will get all the accolades when his playing career is over. And we will shower him with love. And anybody who's booing at Fred VanVleet, when he comes back to Toronto, you're fucked. And I want to come talk to you. I'll come look at you, and I'll find you in the arena. Seriously, I'll come up to you when you're in line for popcorn. I said, "Why'd you boo Fred, man? Why'd you boo Fred? I saw you like out there. You were booing Fred just now. I was like, he's a chucker. He's selfish, motherfucker. I'll show you, chucker." That's so funny, man. Yeah, that's right. All right, let's keep going. Stardeem saying, I think you mean G1 before G2. I don't know the order of how they go. But welcome, Stardeem, and I hope you join more of our channel live streams and contribute whenever you can. Kareem saying, hey, weather laser people, give me a sun all year round. I want to grow oranges and palm trees. Tired of this spike in prices. I want to grow my own shit. I'm seeing it. Everything, a reaction is a reaction. Action is a reaction. So anything we do to manipulate the weather is probably bad. Just let it naturally be what it is what I'm telling people. And stop trying to have so much control and power. It's really, really bad. Yeah. Stargate saying, but Lex, Milton did not start off the coaches of Africa. But anyway, I digress. I don't know where it started, but I'm just saying there's normal places where they spawn. And the Gulf of Mexico is one of them. And so is off in the Atlantic over near the coast of Africa. So there's a few different places where they spawn naturally. And I think what Milton's one that came here, you got to also understand the way that tropical storms work is they go up and down and downgrades. And it could very well be a weather system that came from out in the Atlantic, came and it wasn't as big. And then it got more steam in the middle of the Gulf. And then it did that. I know a lot about hurricanes growing up in Florida. They taught us about them in school so that we could understand them. And of course, watching them on the news and the weather, when you have hurricane watches every season, every year, you get used to it being a Florida kid and kind of understanding what they're all about. Let's see. All right. You guys are talking about G3s and 4s and shit too much. I'm going to skip those comments now. Kareem saying CP24 headline today was Year of Hope for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Laugh out loud. Leaf fans are down bad. I'd like to see them have some success, but I'll never believe it until I see it, especially until I see it in the second round of the NHL playoffs. And I did not see success in the second round of the playoffs this year against Florida, and that's too bad. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Leafs, it's another year. And how soon will you say, well, there's always next year? Hopefully, it's not until you get all the way to the Stanley Cup and you're saying, let's repeat, baby. How about that? How about that? Fiercely saying, I'm still slightly salty about Fred's departure, but do acknowledge he absolutely deserves to have his jersey retired. His success story is amazing and inspiring for young undrafted players. For people his size, like Jamal Shed, Marquise Noel, that's what I'm saying. There's just something about Fred that's very Rudy. Let's just put it that way. And his departure was confusing, but you know what? He went about it the right way. And in some ways, look, Houston was just going to be able to throw that money at him. And sure, he was clutch. He needed to do what clutch is going to do. But you know what? I don't hate him for it. In some ways, Fred is such an amazing story, and he's a huge success story. And in some ways, they don't put that on blast enough across the NBA the absolutely amazing story that Fred VanVleet is, because in some ways, his success story is Toronto's success story and also Masai Ujiri's success story. And not enough people are putting that on blast. I think that a lot of people that are kind of about Fred, if they saw something out about him and the truth about him in certain ways, not the parlay, bet on yourself movie that he made, but something that's a little bit more bigger and it's NBA wide, they would probably actually get it a little bit more and be like, wow, actually, when I think about Fred in this light, I actually kind of do get it now. I kind of get it. Tobias saying, I hate the Toronto media for the Leafs. Fuck the Leafs. They think they're going to win the cup every year when, in fact, they barely get out of the first round. Yeah, it's a tough situation with the Leafs. And being in the same city with them and sharing a lot of the same sports fans is tough. And that's why we made our own space. And that's why this channel exists. That's right. Tobias saying, come out for the meetup here in Alberta, Lex. I'm sure there are fans out here. That'd be fun. I could come out and see you and Seymour. And my friend Kevin lives in Calgary. And he's a very old friend of mine for like 25 years now. And Kevin's awesome. And in some ways, I was talking to him on the phone. And yeah, he'd be cool to come see. He's a dealer at the casino. And Kevin's awesome. So maybe I come out there and see you guys. We did talk about doing a cross-country trip, driving to Vancouver and checking everything out. But yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Mike saying, man, it was reported around the world. You're talking about this the weather stuff? Okay. Andrew saying HVAC pays very, very well. Every day you're on a new job site working with a new system with a new problem. Great field. Yeah. You know, Gerald, our friend Pizza Chris, he has gotten into generators and he's very much working with the emergency generators now. And that's kind of a similar kind of work, except he has to get portable ones and bring them back and forth and take them to new sites. And that has been very, very lucrative for him, although they overwork him. And it's crazy how they make him work with no overtime. It's absolutely criminal, actually. Carlos saying, does Fred VanVleet get his jersey retired? I think so. I think he should. I think there's 4 people that really deserve it, and Vince isn't one of them. I think 7, I've said this over and over again, 7, 10, 43, and 23. They deserve to be retired. Those 4 numbers right there. Those are the only 4 numbers I see that should be retired for the Raptors. And that's Kyle, DeMar, Pascal, and Fred. Yeah. Seymour saying Jalen Green has surpassed Shaden Sharp with dunk of the year, man. Ended Simmons of Portland's life. Jalen Green's a great dunker, but I don't think he's a good player. He's a great sizzle player, but he's not steak. He's not steak. Andrew saying Fred is a huge part of Raptors history. He's a franchise great. He is, for sure. And listen, if we're going to have Carter's number over our head, we better for damn sure have VanVleet's number over our head too, is what I'm going to say right now. That's right. Seymour saying drug test Suggs, man. It was high as fuck last season when he played against us, or am I tripping? I think he just gets really amped up, go against us because of all the ESPN hype that he thought he was supposed to get drafted by us. Instead, we picked Scottie, and he took it as a diss. So he takes it personally against the Raptors every time he plays us. Plus, him and Scottie are best friends, and he does get up to play against us partly because of the friendship between him and wow, it just started storming outside. There's a lot of rain coming down suddenly here out where I'm at right now. Wow, big storm. Big storm. All right, let's see. Andrew saying, laugh my ass off. Suggs defense is crazy. I hope Shed can turn into that. That'd be cool. And Carlos saying, we sure dodged that bullet. Imagine if we pick Suggs. He's okay, but a good role player at the most. Yeah. Scottie's a Scottie's a franchise player for sure. He's an all-around crazy good player. And Masai and Bobby were exactly right with the pick that they took. In some ways, once again, I'll say this. The mainstream media, including the ESPN and NBA, tried to gaslight us into picking Suggs instead of Barnes because they knew Barnes would be so good, and they'd rather us have Suggs and Orlando get Barnes because they could build Barnes as a superstar in Orlando like Banchero the year after. The Banchero was like the backup for Barnes, and they okay, well, we won't get Barnes, we'll get Banchero, and we'll do him the same way we would have done Barnes. But don't get it twisted. The NBA wanted Orlando to take Scottie Barnes, the pick after we picked, and we jumped the gun. We didn't listen to them, and we took Barnes, and we're all the better for it. In some ways, that's part of the reason why the NBA is mad at Masai, is because Scottie's such a great superstar and a marketable person, and they don't want him up here in some ways. And they were mad that we went against the script and didn't take Jalen Suggs, and we took Scottie when we did. Yeah, that's a big part of it right there. That's a big part of it. Seymour saying straight jacked, locked in the shed. That's right. Straight jacketed and locked in the shed. I love that. That's awesome. Rely on Masai, of course. Andrew's saying Suggs is one of the best guard defenders in the league, but I'd take Scottie 100 out of 100 times over him. Of course. It's some of it's just size. Some of it's just ability. Scottie could become one of the best defensive players in the league. Scottie could become one of the best passers in the league. Scottie can become so many different things that Jalen Suggs has no chance of becoming. And that's just optically looks like the better choice. It's like, oh, you're going to pick this guy or this guy? Yeah, you're going to pick that guy that's got the huge, broad shoulders like Dwight Howard before he even shows up in the NBA. That's what I'm saying right there. Nago saying, I hope Shed watches Suggs footage. No, you don't need to watch him. Watch Fred. Watch Davion in practice. Watch Quickly. Watch all these other guys. Suggs is just, you know what Suggs is? He's effort. Suggs cares a lot. Like he's psycho with how much he cares. In some ways, he's not overly talented, guys. It's just that he gives it his all. And well, Shed already does that. So how much can he actually learn from Suggs? Seriously. Kareem saying, I almost think Fred should get his jersey retired before Lowry. That's just my opinion, given he was undrafted and he took every necessary step while collecting all kinds of accolades along the way. I don't know. I don't totally agree with this. I think Lowry should have been number one, or even DeMar. If DeMar had been the first jersey retired ever by the Raptors, that would have meant so much. In fact, I hate Vince saying this means so much being the first Raptor ever get his jersey retired. That should have been fucking DeMar DeRozan. He deserves that way more than you, Vince. In some ways, that would have healed things with DeMar and the Raptors, which matters to me more than healing things with you. As far as I want DeMar to know just how much we care about him and value his contributions to our franchise history. And giving it to DeMar would have meant so much more in so many different ways than giving it to Vince like what we're doing now. Seriously, that's the thing that pisses me off the most, that we're rushed into this because of a 30th anniversary, the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets, and Ed Rogers. We're rushed into retiring Vince's jersey. Some people say you're rushed. You should have retired Vince's jersey 4 years ago. No, motherfucker, because Larry Tenenbaum's a real one. He was blocking that shit this whole time. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying Miami Heat is going to honor Pat Riley 30 years. So they're opening the season court will be named Pat Riley Court. Yeah, I heard about this. And that's an apropos dedication to him. That the Miami Heat's court will now be called the Pat Riley Court. That's fantastic. FSU did this for their football team at their stadium. It's the Bobby Bowden Field in the honor of the great Bobby Bowden, great head coach of the Florida State Seminoles for so long in college football. Well, it just totally makes sense that court be named Pat Riley Court. And absolutely. And in some ways, Pat Riley, he's in the Hall of Fame already as a coach, but he needs to be in the Hall of Fame as an executive also. I agree with that sentiment right there. Yeah, well-deserved indeed. Well-deserved. All right, give me the chat cutoff. Yeah, it is one past 2 hours. Let's see. Fiercely saying, Kareem, with VC's jersey retirement, they messed it all up. I would have done it for DeMar or Kyle first, but hey, might as well Fred or Siakam also. Yeah, Vince, you could have been the 5th jersey retired, and you could have waited like 10, 15 years after you retired till you finally got retired. That would have been ideal for me. I would say, yeah, we could retire Vince at a certain point, but let's get the ones that matter, the guys who are actually real ones, done first, because he doesn't deserve the first accolade of this. In some ways, that's the thing that pisses me off, that he'll be the first Raptor jersey retired. It's so gross in some ways. It's really gross. Andrew's saying, nah, bro, Lowry is the ultimate Raptor, 6-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA champion, 9 seasons with the team, gold medalist. Yeah. I mean, I think the argument for me is between DeRozan and Lowry. And honestly, I would have decided it by whoever would have retired sooner, and we could have done it for sooner. Like if this is Lowry's last year with the Sixers and he's done after this season, I would have retired Lowry immediately at the beginning of next season. And then Vince maybe could have been done after that. But yeah, DeMar plays another season because DeMar's let it be known he's going to play another 3 seasons still. But Lowry's kind of said, I'm only going to play one more season or 2. And so it could very well be Lowry's going to retire before DeMar. He's been in the league longer than DeMar, so that makes sense. Yeah, so 7, 10, 23, and 43. Those are the numbers right there. Those are the ones I wanted up there. And 15 was not necessary. Andrew's saying Lowry and DeRozan were the first stars to wear Raptors across their chest with pride. Yeah. I mean, they're not the first, stars, like superstars. There are guys that earlier on in the careers of the Raptors that were prideful Raptors that wore it with pride, but they weren't necessarily big-time players, the main player on the team. And I agree with this. Bosh and Carter did not respect the name on their jersey as much as the back of their name on the back of the jersey. It's so stupid that Vince said that at the court dedication, Because, dude, Carter on the back meant more than Toronto on the front when you were in Toronto, bro. Don't lie. Don't lie to us. We're not stupid. That's right. Seymour's got the emoticons out. And Fiercey saying, speaking of Portland, Scoot was asked what he took away from his first year as a rookie. He answered the food. Blazers fans, good luck with that. Yeah, Blazers have no leadership and they have no direction they're going in. It's just going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. Let me see if there's anything else I want to look at in the chat, and I'll keep doing your things. The RJ Barrett injury is on ESPN. They're talking about that. There is a birthday today, guys. Happy birthday to former Raptor Juan Dixon, guys. Juan Dixon of Maryland was a Raptor for a little bit of time around the Chris Bosh era. Juan Dixon, a point guard for us. So happy birthday to Juan today. Yeah, let's see. Kareem saying DeRozan, Fred VanVleet, then Lowry for me, simply because we drafted him. Yeah, I like that. Both these guys were drafted and part of our projects, like Siakam too. We drafted Siakam. Didn't draft Fred, but we signed him as an undrafted. And DeRozan was a draft pick of ours. Carlos saying it will probably be the order of who retires first. Yeah, and it'll be Lowry before DeRozan. DeRozan's got gas in the tank. DeRozan looks awesome. Lowry's looked like he probably could have retired in the last 3 years at any time. But DeRozan's looking like he's still at the top of his game, and he's not near retiring. In fact, he said in interviews recently, like I said, 3 more years. I think he wants a nice dichotomy of first 9 years with the Raptors, 3 years with San Antonio, 3 years with Chicago, and then this 3 years is the last 3 years, and he'll have 18 years in the league. So that's kind of how DeMar's career breaks down. And who knows if they're all in Sacramento? It could be 2 years in Sacramento and then 1 year in Toronto to say farewell as a Raptor. 1 more year in Toronto at the very end of DeMar DeRozan's career. He said that he'd do this recently. I thought he'd never, ever want to come back to Toronto, but he said he would, and he doesn't even care if Kyle's back now at this point. He thinks that bookends would be really cool to start his career with the Raptors and then end it with the Raptors and not doing what Kyle said he'd do, where he comes and he signs for 1 day and retires as a Raptor. He's coming back and he wants to play for the Raptors for a whole entire season, his last entire year in the league. So that's a real one right there. That's Mr. I Am Toronto. After everything that's happened with DeMar DeRozan and the Raptors, the fact that he's come around, he's so well adjusted and such a grown-up person that he's like, look, I can't be mad at y'all. I love y'all so much. I would love to come play for y'all again at the end of the career. That says so much right there about healing and getting past hurt. DeMar DeRozan's a huge role model for everybody. He's an amazing person. He's so good, so good. Tobias is saying, I'll be honest, I was originally disappointed when we first drafted Barnes and he changed my opinion. You know, I was so stupid. I wasn't even paying attention to the draft. I didn't even see Scottie get drafted. I didn't get caught up in the Suggs hype. All I saw was this guy's from Florida State. Okay, I love Florida State. That's where I went to school. And then I saw his shoulders, and I was like, we're good. We're good. I had no snap judgment. And in fact, right away, I was like, why is everybody so mad about us taking this guy over this guy? Because I looked at Suggs and I was like, this dude, okay, he's a baller. He's a scorer in college. None of that translates to the NBA. I'm sorry, y'all. And the body of Scottie Barnes will translate the NBA way easier than Jalen Suggs and his baller, crazy dog mentality from university. And I knew that right away. And I was like, yeah, you want the taller player with the longer wingspan. Hello. hello. Andrew's saying Lowry is a pioneer of We the North too. Yeah. He was there from the whole build up to the championship. Lowry was a huge, crucial part of that. And he was there. Yeah, we will retire number 2. Kawhi Leonard? I don't know. Maybe Jonathan Mobo's number 2. I don't know. We'll retire Kawhi Leonard's number. If we do that, that's kind of silly. But if we do that, I mean, in some ways, I guess retiring Vince is about the same as retiring Kawhi's. In some ways, I could say that. It was like, look, if we're going to retire Vince's, I guess we could retire Kawhi Leonard, but let's not retire Chris Bosh. Seriously, there's no reason to retire Chris Bosh. All right, I guess I got to the end of the chat. Let's go ahead and wrap it up, guys. Scottie Barnes apparently has had the baby last week, and that's why he missed training camp for the Raptors last week. As BrianWindhorst has let it out of the bag. I'm pretty sure it's probably true. We don't know for sure, but be on Twitch watch and wait for Scottie to appear and make the official announcement and maybe even introduce us to his child. Who knows? Maybe he'll put the baby on Twitch with him. He's like, hey, guys, say hi to blah, 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 whatever their name is. So that could be very cool that could happen. Yeah, might as well retire Dragic. No, what are you talking about, Fierce? You're crazy. No, we have to have standards for how we retire. I mean, seriously, Vince is not the good first right step. But yeah, we have to have some sort of standards. Also, yeah, RJ Barrett's injury is being over dramatized by the media right now, guys. It's a separated shoulder. Some people play pickup and they just pop it back in. They keep playing. They don't miss a beat. So let's just say this is a great opportunity for RJ extended rest before the very long 82 game season. And he had a long summer. He played in the Olympics, and he in some ways, this is the way you have to get people to rest. RJ, your shoulder's separated. Just take the rest of the preseason off. But I'll keep playing, coach. I'm fine. I want to play. That's how RJ is. They're like, no, man, we're going to take all precautions. So maybe this is the way we get him to chill. Now, Darko did say that RJ is able to train and do a lot of different stuff, even though the shoulder's separated. So this shouldn't hinder him or put him off his conditioning, is basically what Darko said in his interview yesterday. So, y'all, thanks for watching me today. Thanks for making the difference between content makers. And you guys are a big part of it. It's a two-way street. Y'all's comments are awesome. You guys were really funny today. Take them out to the shed. That's right. All kinds of good stuff said in this chat today. I love it. And I really appreciate you guys. That's right. Tobias is saying, how did We the North start? Well, we celebrated the anniversary of 10 years of it I guess last year. So it really kind of started with Masai. Masai came around, and that campaign kind of started taking off around when Masai came to our team as the president and general manager. So it's a motif. It's kind of like, and we're kind of doing this right now in the marketing for the Raptors this season. They're really talking about us being outsiders, about being the only Canadian team in the NBA. And they're really doubling down on this. And that's kind of what We the North was in the beginning, is that We the North, we're a different part of the NBA than the American NBA. And we distinguish that. In some ways, we have problems because we're the only Canadian team in the league, but we have advantages also. And one of them is, like somebody said recently on the broadcast, is that all of our games are nationally televised up here. It's funny that they are echoing what I said when they came out with the broadcast schedule for all NBA teams. And they're saying, oh, the Raptors only have like one national television game on ESPN and then two on NBA TV. Well, I came on the stream after that and I said, what are you talking about? The Raptors are on national television, all 82 games across Canada. And I love that. Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong reiterated that on the broadcast on Montreal on Sunday. They did say that. They said the Raptors are the only team in the NBA that have all 82 games on national television. And that is true. That is exactly true. All right. Thank you, Andrew. The Andrea trade. Yeah, that was right around when we did We the North, when we traded Andrea Bagnani to the New York Knicks in that great trade for Steve Novak. Yeah. Y'all, thanks for watching me today on a Wow Wednesday. Wow, Scotty's baby came. And RJ isn't as hurt as what they're trying to make you think. So don't get into this cynical Leaf headspace like a Leaf fan and strong sports media wants you to be in. It's just not a place to be. RJ's going to be fine. So y'all, love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow for Thursday Think Tank. We'll do the call-in show. Y'all can call in and talk to me on the air live on the phone. So be ready for that. If you're a member, you have access to the phone line. And we'll see what the topic is. We'll see what happens this afternoon. If there's any kind of topic that comes around organically, or I'll figure it out for tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. I'll be back. This streak ain't ending anytime soon. All right, let's go.